What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I got to have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I am your host, Anton Daniels, and it is Friday, September 1st, 2023, year of our Lord, and it is a beautiful Friday. What's going on, friends and family? How do y'all feel? How's everybody doing? Is everybody in a great mood or not? Or not? I understand that there's some people that may not necessarily be in the best of mood today. But it's Friday, it's sunny outside, at least where I am. And we in good spaces, man. We on good time today. Well, considering that I was running a little bit behind from yesterday, but we on good time today. What up? Hold on, Treese. You said that this is your second YouTube family? I don't even want to know who the first is because we supposed to be the first. We supposed to be the first. What you mean this is your second YouTube family? We supposed to be the first. Hey, shout out to all of my ghost watchers out here in the building. Shout out to all of my ghost watchers out here in the building. What up? I appreciate y'all. What's happening? What's the word? Hey, I'm curious. I'm trying to figure something out. Honestly, I'm trying to figure something out. Give me a second. I ain't even had time to be able to change my gear. I ain't had no time to throw on no black shirt. I just said, yo, I'm coming in and I'm kicking it and I'm cooking it and I'm doing what I'm doing on a regular basis. And I'm trying to figure out what the heck is going on out here in these streets. So why y'all mad at Oprah? Why are y'all mad at Oprah? I'm trying to figure out why y'all mad at Oprah. I don't understand why everybody is mad at Oprah. What the hell is going on? Why y'all tripping on Oprah? Huh? All right, don't worry about it. We're going to get into it. Hey, can I get a health check in here, a mental health check, and let me know how y'all feeling? One word. What up, Calgary, Canada? I appreciate you, Intelligent Design. Can I get a mental health check? What up, Fan? What's happening? Hey, Fan, we got a new version of Fight Club that's coming out tonight. I think you're going to... What the fuck is going on with my camera? Jesus Christ, what's happening? Good grief. All right, I just ordered a new lens yesterday. It should be here today, so we're going to swap that out. So we shouldn't have no problems going forward. Let me give it an early acknowledgement and an early shout out to, hold on, give me a second, to the Cash Appers. Let me give an early acknowledgement and a shout out to my people out here in these streets. Let me give a shout out to Greg Orr. I appreciate you. Shout out to Ken. Said he for your work with the 5-ball. Greg Orr threw that 25 ball over there. Darwin Christian threw the 50 ball on there. Shout out to Mike, that dude that's in the building as usual. I appreciate you, big bro. Yeah, man, we getting it in. We getting it in on a regular basis. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. We're going to continue to run it up. Why y'all tripping on Oprah? Let me see what's happening with Oprah real quick before we start to get into the show. Because y'all wilding out here in these streets. People send me about 4 different things about people complaining about Oprah. And I can't understand it. People send me about 4 different things about people complaining about Oprah. Hold on. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Give me a second. Oprah and The Rock apparently did a PSA announcement on behalf of Maui. Let me see what's happening. That's not what it is. Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see. What the hell is going on? They won't even let me talk about Oprah? Give me a second. I just want to see something because everybody keep talking about Oprah and y'all done sent this to me about 8 different times. All right. I just want to play this real quick. I'm going to get to the super chats. Thank you. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. Preston Walker. Also, Gab is in the building. Let me see what's happening with Oprah real quick, and then we're going to get into the show.
My name is Hokulani Holt, and my family and myself have been on Maui for generations. It's unprecedented that such a group of people have come together in order to help Maui. Not only those who are helping us to fund the things that we need to have, but also those who, from our community, have also come in order to listen and in order to share our thoughts about the plans that are coming to fruition.
It has been so extraordinary to see how people have shared their mana and shared themselves and just opened up in a way that we've never experienced before.
So it is how we interact with each other and love one another that shows through in everyone.
Thank you. Thank you for standing with us.
Thank you for standing with us. Thank you for being you.
And making us stronger. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you. We just finished one of several meetings because we've been meeting with community leaders, our kapuna, for the past couple of weeks, and just trying to figure out what we could do. And I was sent a message about Dolly Parton's fund that she's.
First of all, let me say this. Oprah is slim, trim, and in shape, especially for her age. Somebody in the chat tell me how old Oprah is. Somebody in the chat tell me how old Oprah is. Oprah is said that she is in shape. She got her life together. And she want to advocate on behalf of Maui. She want to advocate on behalf of Maui. Now, what I've also seen is that nobody is saying anything negative about The Rock. They only coming for Oprah, and I'm trying to figure out why. Why is people only coming for Oprah? I don't understand it.
Started for the people of Gatlinburg when there was a tragedy and fire in Gatlinburg. and she called it the People's Fund. Actually, my People's Fund, she called it, where money was sent
she's
directly
69,
to
68 years
each
old.
individual. And
Shout out to P.
this
Shank. I'm gonna read that
idea
shortly.
all started because of Dolly. Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly.
Thank you, Dolly. Because when I sent that...
Oh, I see why they got the Rock over there. They got the Rock over there because Rock is Hawaiian or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? All right. Let's get to it. I want to read it. I mean, I'm going to play it in shortly. Hold on.
To Dwayne, and he said, this sounds good. You mean we could put money directly into the hands of the people? And we've been having a meeting every day since that moment.
And, when Oprah had texted me this idea, first of all, we were texting when this tragedy took place. And the idea was, what can we do? And we're kicking ideas around. And
Weren't we like everybody else?
Everybody else.
How do we help?
How do we help? What do we do? Can we create something? Do we support something that's already in place? And in this time of need, you want to take care of the greatest need of the people, and that's giving them money.
We have put $10 million to start the fund of our own money, and are looking forward to the help of every person who called me and said, what can I do? This is what you can do. The People's Fund of Maui. And also, I think the idea of people being able to have agency over their lives, being able to, the greatest sense of empowerment is being able to have some control when everything seems so out of control. And we're calling it the People's Fund of Maui because every dollar that you send is going to go into an account that goes directly to the people.
Okay, so Oprah is saying that they basically created a fund and they were very careful about what it is that they put into it because the fund, all right, so let me break it down from this perspective, all right? Because I've seen several Instagram posts and several videos and TikToks where people sent me and it was basically like, yo, I'm going off on Oprah, fuck her. You know what I'm saying? All of that or whatever, so on and so forth, right? And she's saying basically, listen, and I've actually seen clips and videos of her on the ground working with people in which she wasn't recording it, but it was people recording her in the background and she was going through and working with what it was that she felt like she was, was important over in Maui, right? So here's the thing. Now I've been seeing a lot of videos pop up where people is like, nah, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like, how dare you ask for us to give a donation in order to put it in the hands of the people and all of this other type of stuff, right? So she basically said, listen, look, we put up 10 million of our own money to put in the hands of the people. This is what the video is saying. We put up, and that's why I wanted to make sure that I looked at the whole video, and this is the first time that I seen the video. I literally just looked it up. She said, listen, we're putting money in directly in the hands of the people because what happens is when you start to put money in a lot of these nonprofits and things that ask you to donate, I know that when they did the whole Haiti thing, Wyclef Jean came under fire because it was like, where the money never went to the people, whatever, so on and so forth. But she's basically saying, listen, what we doing right now is we putting money directly into the hands of the people so that we can help and rebuild or do whatever it is that we need to do. And if you want to donate or if you want to help, then this is what you would do. Nobody is telling you that you have to. We're using our celebrity in order to bring awareness to it. And this is what we've done. So we want to actually continue to help and advocate for the things that's meaningful, right? So this is what I'm seeing happening on the outset, right? And this is the video that everybody is reacting to. So let me watch the rest of the video and then I'm gonna give you the rest of my thoughts.
We wanted to honor and respect the culture. So no decision has been made, not the smallest decision or the largest decision, without conferring with the community leaders who have supported us in this effort. We said.
So they saying that, listen, we going directly to and working with the community leaders in order to make sure that all funds or everything that we got going out here in the community is going to be directed appropriately. Okay, cool. All right. So far, I don't see anything. So far, I don't see anything that I would have a problem with. And again, y'all got to be able to separate how y'all feel about a person in particular away from what it is that we reacting to right now. Okay. So you may not like the fact that Oprah's show, or you may not like the fact that she came up and she made, got a bag and she's a woman that's a billionaire or whatever like that. You may not like the fact of what it is that she stands for as far as men, or she never got married, whatever, so on and so forth. But in summary, what I'm seeing right now is that Oprah took her money and The Rock, and they put up their own money. They're working with community leaders directly. They're not actually putting it into a nonprofit. They're working directly into a community, working with the community leaders. They want to put the money directly in the hands of the people. And you got to also understand that this is not their fault that Maui's wildfires is happening. She's saying that basically we're not going to wait for the government in order to come over here, because I don't know what the fuck is Biden and all of them is doing. We're not going to wait for FEMA. We're not going to wait for the government. We're going to put money into the hands of the people so we can figure out how it is that we can work with, community leaders in order to ensure that this thing is taken care of. Okay, cool. So far, I see nothing wrong with whatever it is that's being communicated right now.
Is this what you want? They said, yes, this is what we want now. It doesn't mean that there aren't many things to happen later, and having them not just give us their blessing, but have a seat at the table in making the decision.
Oprah lives here in Maui. I was raised in these islands. My family are buried in these islands. So just knowing everything that took place, knowing the trauma that has taken place, and knowing that it's going to take a long time to rebuild. Probably get a little worse before it gets a little better, but we're here doing what we could do in our, perhaps in a long-term small way, but we're very, very grateful, and also very proud, by the way, of our community.
Yeah, and one of the things we want to have this fund go for as long as you, America, choose to help us with this fund. And our goal is to be able to give people money regularly for at least the next 6 months, so that they will be able to make decisions for themselves and be able to have some sense of value for what they can bring to themselves and to their families.
Okay, I'm very confused. Y'all know I like to interact with the chat. I like to see what the vibe is. I'm going to be reading the super chat shortly. I appreciate everybody that continues to support the platform. Let's have an uncomfortable conversation. All right, let's have an uncomfortable conversation really quickly, because we don't always agree. We're a family, and like any family, I'm going to be on one side of the fence. Sometimes you're going to be agreeing with me. Sometimes you're going to disagree with me, but that's what we do. I'm not here to tell you what it is that makes you feel better. I'm here to give you my honest to God thoughts. And I am going to drop the link in the chat towards the end of the show. You said the likes is low for the greatest morning show on earth. The likes is low. Come on, man. Let's not go over to a Teach commercial this early into the show. We got over 1,000 people already in here. We need to get the likes up. Shout out to my people on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on YouTube. All right, so listen. We not gonna have we not gonna always agree. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts, and then y'all can give me y'all thoughts. I'm gonna read the super chat. I got a full show plan for y'all, but I wanted to see what the vibes is and why everybody was complaining about Oprah online. All right, cool. I'm seeing people in the chat right now saying Oprah is wrong. I see somebody say what's in it for them. I don't understand. Okay, what is she doing that's wrong in this particular situation with regard to Maui? I don't really understand. She said, we working with the community leaders. We not even working with a nonprofit organization. We giving money directly into the hands of the people. We not waiting on the federal government. We don't get any incentive out of this. I'm trying to understand what the problem is. What is going on? Okay, so let me somebody said tax write-offs. All right, so let me dispel that myth right now. You don't benefit from a tax write-off by just fucking giving money. That is the biggest myth and the craziest thing that I've ever heard in my life. Y'all got to stop saying that. Y'all got to stop saying that people is just giving money away for a tax write-off. That's not how it works, okay? You don't give money away just for a tax write-off. You can get a better tax write-off by reinvesting into things that then increase your assets and not necessarily giving to a charity, okay? When you give to an organization or you give to a charity, that actually hurts you more than it helps you, because I can get the same write-off, if not more, by reinvesting into myself and lowering my tax bracket while also increasing my assets. So stop saying that. When you give a tax write-off, all that is it lowers your tax burden, but it costs you significantly more out of your own money in order to do so. So stop saying that. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about when y'all say tax write-off. That's not what it is. When somebody gives, yes, they can get a deduction depending on how it is that they do it and whether or not they do it. But they don't significantly benefit as a result of it, because you have to give more in order to get a little bit off of your tax burden. Okay? So stop saying that. It's not a tax write-off. Y'all don't know what y'all talking about. You got to stop saying that. You got to stop saying that. You don't know how money works, and that's why you keep saying that shit. That's not how it works. I see Sid said something, got something to say, said human trafficker. Where? Okay, show me the evidence of where this is so we can bring it up on the Millionaire Morning Show and have a conversation about it. Show me where it is. Okay, all right. Let me ask y'all another question. If she wanted to work behind the scenes and not do any kind of public service announcement, what does this benefit her actually coming on and giving any visibility to a cause? Y'all got to separate how y'all feel about somebody from what it is that we reacting to. How does this benefit her to actually come online or create a video that's advocating on behalf of the people of Maui? See, it's a win. It's a lose if you do. It's a lose if you don't. If you don't show up for it, people are going to say, well, where are all of the people that is supposed to show up for the things that really matter? They're going to kill you for that. If you do show up for it, they're going to throw all of these conspiracy theories, these unproven things that they feel about you, into the forefront that don't have nothing to do with what it is that you're advocating for. I swear to God, when I become a billionaire, not if, when I become a billionaire, I'm just going to fucking disappear. When I become a billionaire, I'm going to fucking disappear. Why are y'all mad at rich people? Now, if y'all got some evidence to say that she finessed y'all out of something or whatever, or she stole something from somebody, then that's cool. Man, I don't understand why y'all mad at rich people. What the fuck y'all want her to do? She said that we working with the community leaders. We want to give to the community. We want to make sure we put the hands directly into the hands of the people so that they not finessed out of their property and everything like that. I don't really understand what y'all want her to do. Y'all said she gaining from the publicity for this. How? How is she gaining from the publicity? Somebody help me to understand how she's gaining from the publicity. What are y'all talking about? Are y'all jealous of Oprah? So it's cool to just hate on rich people without any kind of evidence. Y'all wild, man. Y'all are wild, bro. Y'all can't be that kind of black heart. You can't have that kind of black heart. She's working. This is what y'all want. Put the money directly in the hands of the people. Don't get nothing out of it. Working with community leaders to have them direct where the funds is going to go, and to lend your celebrity in order to bring more visibility to an issue that more often than not dies off because it's not something popular for people to talk about. And y'all mad at her. Critiquing. Okay, Jamal, how do you critique her? What are you critiquing? What is there to critique? How does she benefit from this? This is wild. This is wild. Y'all just be talking. Y'all just be talking. So people is mad at Oprah because they broke. That's what y'all basically telling me? It's not a fucking tax write-off. You don't know what you're talking about. Jesus Christ. I swear to God, once you get to I don't swear to God. I take that back. I promise on everything. Once you get to a certain level, and I'm not an Oprah fan at all, but good grief. So y'all want all of the people to just disappear and don't say nothing. When I get to a certain level, I'm ghost. You're not going to hear from me. You're not going to ever see. I got a number in my head. I have a number in my head. And when I get to a certain level, I'm ghost. You're never going to see from me. You're never going to hear me again. Because I understand that it's a level that you get to that ultimately you can do no right and you can do no wrong. And if you help people, then they're going to get mad at you. Yo, I jumped on somebody's live stream and I gave them some advice that they ultimately came back to and wound up embracing in the first place. I jumped on somebody's live stream and gave them some advice, and people, the person, I don't even think that they had 2,000 subscribers at the time. And people said, Anton is trying to ride your wave because you about to blow up. You hot right now. And I was like, yo, I got a combined almost 500,000 subscribers across multiple different platforms. And I make well over $100,000 a month on content creation alone. What do I have to gain over coming over here and giving you advice? I don't understand. People was mad at me for coming and giving good advice and showing love to people and feeling some type of way and questioning me and forcing me to then substantiate how it is that I'm coming in to help somebody else. After that live stream, I made up in my mind that day. I said, all right, Anton, pull back. No more helping people. No more looking out for people. No more adding value into people's lives. If it ain't the bag chasers, if it ain't the Patreon members, then do not in any way, shape, and form participate in helping anybody else because people are wild. Do not, I'm telling you, that was my declaration from there on out. Do not any longer help anybody or do not add any value to anybody's life if they're not a part of the Patreon, they're not a part of the bag chasers, and they're not a part of your tribe. Because, you know what I'm saying? I don't got time for that. I don't need you. I'm trying to help you, and you trying to come at me for helping you. Okay, cool. I'm telling you, bro. I made up in my mind that once I got to a certain number, it's over. It's over. I'm done. I'm completely tapping out. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm gonna let y'all up throughout the show today. I'm gonna let y'all be able to come up and say anything that you want to say to me whatsoever, because I think that people are just inherently evil. They bitter, they evil, they jealous, they got problems as a result of it. And you should not help people that do not want to help themselves. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to get started with the show. Shout out to Preston Walker, says, no bag fumbling on a Friday. Let's get it. Shout out to Preston Walker. I appreciate you. Thank you for looking out for your boy. I really do. I really do. Shout out to my Idaho bag chasers also. Gab, light to bright, says, I'm grateful for men like Anton building, not destroying, as we should do always. Great leadership. Shout out to that. Shout out to you, Gab. I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. P. Shank is in the building, says, good morning, Anton. You didn't read my chat or anyone chat from your Wednesday show. I know. I'm sorry about that. I am very, very sorry about that. I forgot about it. I have been streaming for like 3.5 hours. I never go over 2 hours on a live stream unless it's on a Monday night show. I try to stay under 2 hours or sometimes between 2 and 2.5 hours. So I apologize for not reading the super chats. I was delirious. I had to get up in 3 hours. I really do apologize, but thank you for bringing that up. P. Shank, I appreciate you. Let's see what else we got up in here. Carl, shout out to Carl. Carl says, Anton, I appreciate the value, my man. When do you think you'll be doing the next New York meetup? I missed the last one. I'm going to be in D.C. in October, and I'm getting all of that together over the weekend, and I'll be back in New York next year. So I do New York once a year. Thank you, Carl. I appreciate you. I do New York once a year. And then I haven't even made it out to L.A. yet. So shout out to New York and shout out to L.A. for showing up. Unlimited Cam. Shout out to Unlimited Cam in the building. Says, good morning. I just received an offer for $90,000 at my company I previously interned for. They are giving me 12 days to decide. We have a call scheduled for September 11th. And do you not have any earlier opening dates? I actually got your email. So I'll send your email, and I plan on responding to your email. We can talk this weekend. Send it to me again. Re-forward it to me again so I can have it at the top of my inbox. But I actually read that email yesterday, Unlimited Cam. Congratulations on the offer. Shout out to the bag chasers. Shout out to the bag chasers continuing to level up, especially my young dudes that's already at 90 bands and leveling up. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. Shout out to Unlimited Kim. Resend me that. I'll make sure that I tap in with you. Actually, you texted me. I think you texted me, but I read that text message. Email me. Justin Lawrence says, going to my second interview for the supervisory position, claiming my victory. Peace to the bag chasers. If you're on your way to the interview, make sure you tap into the Patreon and listen to the video where I did Interview Like a King. The video where I did Interview Like a King, that is absolutely mandatory for anybody that is going on an interview. It is almost a guarantee. I can't see guarantee because I don't know if y'all going to self-sabotage. But it is almost a guarantee that you're going to get the position based off of you doing that interview, all right? Shout out to you. Duncan Fitness is in the building. Says, just joined the Chasers. I'm 24 and looking for guidance. Shout out to all of the Chasers. Y'all know the best time of the month to join the Chasers is the beginning of the month, right? The best time of the month to join the bag chasers is the beginning of the month. It's September 1st. There could never be a better time for you to actually join the Patreon. The link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers. I appreciate you, big dog. Money Mix is in the building. Says, good morning. Schedule change, but I caught this morning. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. Unlimited Cam says, just clarified with my HR manager. They said I had 30 days. Is it possible I can send you the offer letter? And our date on the 11th is fine. Send me an email, Unlimited Cam. Send me an email. The Right Insight says, not the chat giving Anton tax advice. I ain't even going to answer that. You know what I'm saying? Pat S5 says, if people focused on their money instead of someone else's money, they would have more money. I agree. Rob said, I swear people will starve and die because they picky about the hand that helps comes from. They complain about the lack of help at the same time. What the I'm trying to clean up my language. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying not to talk too reckless because I need my 30 M's. Let me read some more super chats and then we're going to get there. Thank you, Rob, for holding me down. Jamal Fowler says, Anton, I was just asking a question. I was trying to figure out what the issue was. No hating here. Oh, I feel you, Jamal. No worries. Big J all day is in the building. Says, hey, Anton, I just joined the Patreon. I'm sorry I'm late to the stream. Out here getting to the bag, but I have a beard oil company I'm starting up. I would love to give you some samples and get your feedback on what to improve. Send it to me. And shout out to you for joining the bag chaser. Send me it. Listen, my address is in the description of this video. You can send it directly to me. I will have it, and then we can talk about it. Shout out to you and congratulations for your beard oil company. I think that's dope. Classy Beat says, people in the chat want to get rich, do more for people who are in a ridiculous amount of consumer debt and can't even manage a $500 stimulus check. Shout out to Classy Beats. I appreciate you, my friend, for tapping in. Raekwon mingled off says, it's my Shorty Wop's birthday. I got us tickets to the Cat Williams show. Any other suggestions on good birthday ideas? You got to make it personal. Whatever it is, it really doesn't matter what you do for her. It's really that it has to be memorable, right? So whatever it is that you do, just make it personable. Like pay attention to the things that she told you in the previous conversation, something that was meaningful to her. You know what I'm saying? Something that happened to her as a life event. Get something engraved. You know what I'm saying? Reach out to her family and find out something that's unique about her and then do something that's meaningful. The Cat Williams tickets is nice. That's dope. That's the big thing. You know what I'm saying? You're going to spend a night with her. You're dedicating your weekend to her. But then do something else that's meaningful that only you would know. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing that she going to remember. She not going to remember the Cat Williams tickets. She not going to remember the car. She not going to remember none of that other type of stuff. She's going to remember the thing that you was thoughtful about. And those are the gifts that's really meaningful to women. Those are the gifts that's really meaningful. It don't mean that they don't like the big stuff, but you have to really, really leverage the fact that you are the one that intimately knows her the best. You know what she loves. You know what her favorite food is, right? Cook for her. Instead of taking her out for a restaurant, cook for her and then make it more meaningful. Go and get her favorite wine. Go get some white tablecloths. Go get some candles. Set the mood. If you want to do something really unique for her, check out what it is that she do every day. I can't be giving y'all all my game because this is what I'm going to be talking about on Thursday on my Instagram. Make sure that you go and look at what it is that she does as a routine every day, right? Send her flowers to her job before she gets there, so that when she arrives there, she get the, you know what I'm saying? She get the card and the flowers, and then also making sure that she can show off in front of her coworkers. Women love to be showing off in front of their coworkers, right? If she does a routine in the morning, or if she is a stay-at-home woman or something like that, right? Make sure that you do the things that she would normally do before she did it. Clean up the house, clean up the bathroom, and make it a little bit more spick and span. Have certain things already done. Pack her lunch for that particular day or that weekend, right? Set her up with a massage, right? These are the things that's personable to her, that's meaningful. If she's working every day and she don't really have the ability to be able to take off, pay for her to take a vacation day to make sure that she don't miss out on any money, so that she's not behind the 8 ball, in order for her to have that self-care. Those are the things that she's going to remember. She's going to remember the things that's meaningful about it, not necessarily the fact that it's a big gift or that you had to spend a lot of money about it. And you don't have to spend a lot of money. You could just be very, very intentional and very, very careful about what's dope for her. All right? I'm not going to tell y'all how to finesse y'all chick. Y'all going to have to get a coaching call for that one, because a lot of y'all are not self-aware. You just going to buy her something. You're going to think that that's meaningful to her. She want to spend time with you, and don't just buy her flowers. Buy her flowers that's her favorite color. You know what I'm saying? Buy her the flower that's her favorite color, and get a specific type of flower, or get 10 flowers and then leave them in different spots that also have a specific thing that you want her to know, that leads her to a direction that you'll ultimately surprise her with something that's really, really meaningful to her, right? Like that type of stuff. Get her a locket, a chain that is not very expensive, but it may have a picture of somebody that's really meaningful to her that's no longer in her life. All of those things are very meaningful to women. And these are just stuff that's just coming off the top of my head, but all of those type of things are meaningful to women. And that'll really get you to box that night. You know what I'm saying? Right, Quan? That's going to get you that box that night. Brock is in the building, says, I am dumbfounded by how people are upset with rich folks giving away their money. Isn't that what they wanted? Right. That's what they want. Cliff Williams says, Wangwan, big bro, how you feel? Blessed like me? Absolutely. Shout out to my dog, Cliff. Vern Scott is in the building, says, got a speaking engagement to speak about my career in tech at the end of September at Black Tech Saturdays. One time for the bag chasers. One time for the bag chasers. Shout out to my dog. Frankie Civ is in the building with the 25. Said, thank you for all the knowledge you are constantly sharing. Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate you for tapping in. Aaron says, Anton, I sent the DM about the new club trend. They doing bottle wars, but now they flexing to show who willing to pour out the moral slicker. Seriously? Oh my God. That's crazy. I'm going to review that on Monday. Craig G says, interview like a king in the Patreon is legendary. I agree. It's crazy. I gave too much game on that video. Have we heard from the community leaders? What are they going to have to say? Armor of Truth says, I guess only time will tell. Time will tell. Black Ghost says, hi, Anton. Do your thing. Loving it. Thank you for the 50 ball. I appreciate you, Black Ghost, for holding me down. And everybody that subscribed to the channel, hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Thank you, my friend. I am very, very appreciative. Let's get into the show, y'all. First thing I want to do is I want to warn y'all. Diamond, don't tell him what our game is inside of the Patreon. Don't tell him what our game is. You can go and preview it yourself, and you can see the type of videos that's in there. And it's also a group and a community of people that I meet up with in real life and in the Discord. The link to the Discord is in any of the most recent videos. I'm gonna be reading those super chats shortly. Y'all not gonna be getting Patreon level game without actually joining it. It's $15, fam. It's $15. Forego that Happy Meal that you're going to get at McDonald's and make sure you tap into the bag chasers. Make sure you get the T Chanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I want to warn y'all before we really get into the show, because this is something that's been around for a little bit, but you might not be familiar with the lingo. And so it's important for y'all to familiarize yourself with what's happening out in these streets so that you can be safe. There's demonic powers working out here, y'all. It's some extreme demonic powers that are working out here. And I do not want y'all to get caught up. I don't want to have to be extending my prayers over to you from something that I could have prevented from happening, from warning you. And I'm telling you, a lot of these cities are coming under duress, even the cities that are traditionally red, even the states that are traditionally red. When I say red, I mean that are conservative, not necessarily liberal. Even the cities that are traditionally red are now evolving to become some of the worst places because people are moving out of some of the worst cities and they're bringing their mentality with them. Before I get into this story specifically, let me say this. Just because you move out of the hood don't necessarily mean that you're not hood. I'm going to go over it, Kojak. I'm going to go over it, Fan. I'm going to go over it, Azriel. Just because you move out of the hood don't mean that you're not hood. If you move out of the place that you turned into a war zone because you came up on a little bit of money, and then you move into a neighborhood and you bring your ghetto ways with you and your horrible practices, then you're not actually doing anything to help the community you becoming, and you moving yourself with you and you making it bad everywhere else. We'd rather you stay where you at instead of moving out here to where we at so that you can come over here and mess up what it is that we got going on. If you're going to move and you're going to come out here, don't bring that trash ass culture with you. We don't want to hear your loud ass music coming up and playing some of your sexy red as you and what is it, the other ratchet chick, Suki Hana bumping down the street. We don't want to hear that shit. We don't want you having picnics at 12 o'clock at night and all of your friends is over there ruining the property value. We don't want you parking on the lawn just because you own it. That's why they have homeowner associations. That's why we have homeowner association fees. That's why we have people and community leaders that is vigilant in order to keep you motherfuckers out. That's why we vet you. That's why we stereotype. It is good to stereotype. We don't want you in our neighborhoods if you're going to bring your trash ass mentality with you. Now, I got to be the good black guy because you're going to be the bad black guy. And then I got to overcompensate for your trash ass mentality in order to show them that we not all like that. Yeah. You hurt us too just because you bring your trash ass mentality out there. Just because you leave the hood or you move over from California over into a red state. I know a lot of y'all trying to get over to Texas because you saying that's where all of the jobs are. Stay your ass in California where you created this bad environment. Stay your ass over in Chicago with your switches. Don't drive across state line with your guns talking about, oh, they got guns. Gun laws is a little bit more lax in Texas. Yours is not even registered. If you can't drive with your license, registration, and insurance, and you can't pay your bills, then you shouldn't be here. You know, one of the things that I realized as I was growing up and as I was getting older and as I became richer, or I'm sorry, I ain't got no money, as I made a little bit more money, is that one of the reasons why the prices is so high, because a lot of y'all often say, hey, why is it so expensive there? That would be this over in this particular community. One of the reasons why it's so high is so it can price you out. You know why dues are so high at country clubs and why they have to go through a vetting process in order for you to get in and you have to be recommended by more than one person? It's so we can keep the riffraff out. That's why the prices are so high. That's why the property taxes are so high. It's because if you get a little bit of money and you come over into our community, you won't be able to stick around long enough because you can't afford the property taxes. We gonna get you up out of there. The reason why the dues are so high is because we don't want you to not be able to see the value in being able to network. And so you don't think that just because you're not getting nothing out of it, that it's not worth it to be there. That's because you're not a part of the community. We stereotyping out here in these streets. Let me show you what jugging is and what they dealing with over here in Dallas. What the hell is happening? Good grief. What's happening with my clips today? Everything is just going to be messed up? All right, hold on. I got it. Let me get my clip together because everything is messed up today or something. You know what I'm saying? One of them days, you know what I'm saying? We there yet? We not there yet? Let me see. See if I can get this popping. See if I can get it fixed. There we go. There's my little hoodlums. There's my little hoodlums. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm. Let's rock out. Yo. If you see anybody that, before we get into the video, if you see anybody that show up in your neighborhood like this, the Young Thugs starter kit, man, y'all better stop telling me to stop stereotyping. Stop telling me to stop stereotyping. If I see you walking up with a wife beater on, or you ain't got no shirt on and your hair nappy and you got a chain on, hey, honey, get the police on speed dial immediately. Honey, get the police on speed dial immediately. They got weed coming out of their car. They smoking, they music loud. They fit the description of people that are about to commit a crime. They fit, before I even play this video, they fit the description of a group of young men that look like they're about to commit a crime. Get the police on speed dial immediately. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. Get the police on speed dial immediately. They fit the description. I'm not even sure if they did anything yet, but I'm sure they just ain't got caught. Shout out to Stephen Baker. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly.
Investigators say people being robbed, leaving banks and other financial institutions is on the rise, reminding you again about a crime of opportunity called jugging. Hello, everybody. I'm Heather Hayes.
And I'm Steve Eager. Dallas police want you to pay attention to your surroundings at banks and other financial institutions. Robberies known as jugging have been on the rise and increase for the past few months. Fox 4's Sean Rabb is in studio with the story. Sean.
You know what? Jugging's a term that dates back to the 30s when criminals would wait outside of a bank for people to come out with money and then take that money from them.
This is not new. And I keep telling y'all, everything these young dudes is doing today, nothing is new under the sun. Everything is exactly what it is that we presented it to be. This is not new. This dates back to the 30s. K. Cooper says, no, Anton, no, that's not right. If they didn't do anything, I'm not calling the cops. I am. What, you think that I'm going to wait for them to do something before I call the cops? If you think that I'm going to wait for you to commit the crime before the crime is reported, you must be mistaken. You must not know what it is that we do over here in our neighborhood. We are proactive. We are not reactive. We are not waiting for the police to be able to pick up the crime scene and get the bullets out of our arm before we start to identify who the culprits are. If I see you and you look like you about to fit the description of a crime, I am already making the adjustment. It's a strong possibility that I'm going to leave. I'm not even going to come. I'm not even going to be there. If I walk into the store, if I walk into a spot and it look like it's about to go down, I'm turning around and I'm calling the police at the same time. Hey, it don't look safe over there. Can y'all be able to get a couple cars over there? What you think? I'm going to wait for something to happen? You think I'm going to wait for the criminals to execute before I go over there and call? No. Listen, this is what I know about criminals. It's a strong possibility that they already ratting around dirty anyway. So they got drugs in the car. The driver is probably high, which means he's operating under the influence. DUI. Let's get him locked up. Also, on top of that, they probably don't have a license, registration, or insurance. So we need to be able to get that car towed. Because you're going to learn today. We all knew. You know where the term 8 Mile came from? I know y'all think that it's a movie before we get into this video. You know where the term 8 Mile came from? 8 Mile was largely seen in how they showed it to you, what it was the dividing line between white people and black people, but that's not true. It's not true. It was the dividing line between if you knew you drove on the wrong side of 8 Mile, that you was getting fucking arrested if you didn't have your ducks in a row. That's what 8 Mile really meant. Don't worry, I live 2 blocks away from 8 Mile on Green Lawn between Norfolk and Chippewa, 8 Mile Sconies. If you was on one side where you had the Coney Island and the McDonald's, you might have been able to get away with a crime. But if you drove on the other side of 8 Mile, you knew you had to have your shit together before you get over there. And so that's how we need to establish things before people go about doing stuff. You know, if you coming out here, you better have your ducks in a row because you are not getting away. We checking everybody. When I get pulled over, I don't trip. Hey, license, registration, and insurance. Here you go, officer. I'm not tripping because my stuff is tight. I want you to pull me over so I can gloat, so I can create content and be able to say, hey, guys, look at how it is that I'm getting pulled over, and I ain't never had a problem with the police. If you cross that line and you don't have your ducks in a row, you going to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. You going to jail tonight. If you got your ducks in a row, you ain't got nothing to worry about, right?
We've seen it here in our local banks and institutions within the city, check cashing places, and also at commercial stores and businesses.
These surveillance images captured a jugging case in a bank parking lot. Blocked by the van is the driver on the ground, money and credit cards taken. The suspects in the cars parked behind him. Dallas Police Assistant Chief Michael Igo.
So typically what happens is somebody will go to a bank, they'll take out money. Oftentimes they're carrying that money out of a bank bag or in a cash envelope, and they're being approached by these criminals who are threatening them with violence, or actually in some cases violence is occurring.
Pay attention, police say, to vehicles in bank parking lots, especially if they're backed in and people are inside. Try to conceal bank bags and cash envelopes when leaving financial institutions, and watch to see if you are being followed as you leave parking lots.
You used to be able to just live your life and not have to worry about it when you was in certain places, in certain neighborhoods. But then we realized that criminals got cars and they were willing to go to places that they wouldn't normally go to now that we have all of these states that's decriminalizing criminal activity. What is Kobe Jr. saying? You're not always going to be sitting in a Porsche or wearing a suit wherever you go. Keep the tool with you. Stay vigilant. Be skeptical of anybody, but profiling based on color is another level. Well, then don't come around me if you don't want to be profiled. I profile everybody. I don't just profile black people. I profile Latinos, Mexicans, white people, men, women, everything. If I walk into a place and everybody going, hey, 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 and the first black woman I see stand up on the seat, check, please, I'm out. What you think that you special? I profile everybody. Everybody I'm profiling. That's what the FBI do in order to catch criminals. They profile. How do you think they're able to catch serial killers? They study other serial killers and then I identify the behavior with serial killers. So if I see you walking in with a dirty wife beater, then it's a ring around the collar and your hair nappy and you got a Hermes belt on, for some reason I don't think that you up to good. If I see a bunch of women that look like Sexy Red come into the building, I know that that's a place that I don't want to go and take my chick to brunch at. If I see a bunch of essays coming in and they walking down the alleyway, I'm not turning down that alley. What are y'all on? Are y'all smoking crack? You know what the funny part about it is? You profile too, you just don't want to say it. I'm the only person that got a platform, and so I'm willing to say it. I'm willing to be honest about it. But if you see a dude, if you in Chicago on the South Side, and you see a bunch of black dudes with hoodies on, and they walking down one side of the street, and they got their hands in their hoodies, for some reason, I don't think that you're going to feel comfortable enough just riding down that street. You're probably going to turn around and go the other way. Everybody profile. What are you talking about? Everybody profile. Are y'all stupid? No, you think you special because you living in a PC community now. Now you feel like it's necessary for you to be you special. Okay, take your special ass down that street and then you tell me what happened and then I'm gonna follow after you be the guinea pig as a result of it. What's wrong with you? Man, y'all crazy. Don't you see what the police is telling you to do right here? Watch to see if you being followed. Conceal bank bags and cash. Pay attention to the vehicles that's in the parking lot. What do you think that is? Being situationally aware and profiling.
The department's been very proactive on this. Here again, we work with other local law enforcement agencies. We have officers in place that really conduct covert surveillance on these banks.
4 men between 19 and 26.
Look at it. Did I call a profile right or did I not call a profile right? Did I not call it right? Listen, I have not seen this video. I just seen it that somebody sent it to me. I said, jugging, I need to find out what that is and let people know what the hell is going on. And did I not profile you exactly for what it is that you were? Tell me that this don't fit the profile that I just described. Wife beater, raggedy hair. White wife beater, black wife beater, raggedy hair. Thugs on the loose, black lips. What, am I right or am I right? Am I right or am I right? Don't sit here and tell me that I'm wrong. I just saved somebody's life. Somebody's life got saved today because we wanted to be proactive with what it is that we doing. Okay, let's get, have your son walking around like this and see what happened to him. See that the spirit of robbery does not come into his head and he starts to execute on another level.
6 busted for 2 of these jugging offenses. They're charged with organized
Look at
crime,
'em.
which will take their case federal. Police recovered bank bags, cash,
Guns that got taped wrapped around it in order to prevent the fingerprints. They got Molly all in their car. They got multiple different cell phones that they probably stole. Bank of America bags. Ain't none of them got a Bank of America account. Look at this. They got hollow tips that make sure that you're not gonna survive if they let one off in you. Look at the artillery that they sitting on. You know that these dudes don't need no coins. They have no reason to have coins. You see the coins in the upper right hand corner? Why do they have coins? They about to go to the arcade? Huh? They about to go to the arcade? Is that what it is? Don't worry about it.
guns, dope, and personal possessions taken from their victims.
The biggest thing that
And they got trees. Hold on. Don't forget the trees. In the lower left-hand corner. Listen, you're going to smell them. You can use all 5 of your senses in order to be able to identify who's going to commit the crime and who's not. You're going to smell them because you're going to smell the trees on them. You're going to see them because they're going to have that wife beater on and their hair going to be some type of way. Unkept, right? You might feel them because they might bump up against you and step on your shoe and not apologize. All 5 of your senses is going to be tingling. Every single spidey sense that you have is going to be tingling. And if you ignore the signs because you're too prideful and you're too PC in order to call the police to prevent yourself from getting your head knocked over, God bless you. I'm not donating to your GoFundMe or your fish fry.
Public can do is just be vigilant in their awareness when they're going to these financial institutions. That one thing alone is key for them to not become a victim of these offenses.
So this is the principal way it seems robberies are
now
happening,
look, listen.
now.
Now if I see this black man walking down the street, for some reason, black man, well kept, nice glasses, because y'all keep saying it's because of the color. It's not because of the color. It's because of how you present yourself. Black man, nice glasses, no mustache means that I might not be able to trust him when it comes to corporate America because he ain't got no stash, but I definitely ain't got to worry about getting robbed by him on the street, right? Slightly overweight, which means that he's not a runner. He has a suit on, tie, white shirt that looks like his wife takes his stuff to the cleaners. And he looks like he has a job and he may have some money inside of his bank account. I don't feel threatened by this man. I don't feel threatened by this man. I feel threatened. He looked like he brushed his teeth this morning. He looked like he took a shower this morning. I don't feel threatened by this black man. For some reason, I'm getting robber vibes when I walk past you and I'm supposed to just be cool with it. Okay, cool. Yes, wear a suit to not get police called on you. For some reason, I don't think that you're going to be robbing me in a suit. Wear a suit, fan. Anyways, I got to teach y'all how to profile properly. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. We always going to make sure we get back to the money. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to move on with the show. Shout out to the Intentional American. Said, any openers for coaching calls, you got to email me. My assistants handle that. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com, or send me a message inside of the Patreon. And we're going to tackle that, my friend, the Intentional American. Actually, I am opening up a couple slots. I'm opening up a few slots for coaching. I'll tell you all about that later. So shout out to the Intentional American. Stephen Baker says, Stephen, my boy, said, just became a bag chaser. Make sure that you join the Patreon today. Today is the best day to join the Patreon, the beginning of the month. The second best day is tomorrow, but you don't want to miss out on the day because I'm dropping something inside of the Patreon today and Sunday. Today and Sunday, I'm dropping something inside of the Patreon. Shout out to Stephen, my boy. Rob says, when I see them ninjas where I live, I turn Karen real quick. Facts. I want to know what the hell is going on. Jeremy Bradford says, you got to move where they can't afford to be at. They jugging now, though. They getting them PPP loans. They buying Lamborghinis. I don't know what the fuck to do no more. Marshall Scott with the 2-ball. I appreciate you, Marshall. O'Neal Harris is in the building, says, gentrification is a good thing. It requires discrimination and then delineation. New tribe. That's a fact. When you know better, you do better. You know what I'm saying? Rose says the famous saying, these hands are shh. Listen, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Let's continue over with the show. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I've been following this story closely. Let's get into the money, y'all, because we got a couple things that we need to go over before I open up the chat. Or I'll open up the live stream for y'all to be able to come up here and disagree. You want to disagree about Oprah. You want to disagree about profiling people. You will have your opportunity to do so. Don't get scared now. Get ready to cam up. All right. Make sure you got your likes up. The likes look a little low, but I'm waiting on y'all to make sure y'all get y'all likes up. I know that it's 4 people that hit the dislike button. Shout out to y'all. Because y'all are the ones that's looking dusty that I need to profile, but you can't make it inside of my neighborhood anyway. Don't worry about it. We're going to make sure that you can't make it. You got a better chance making it in the hood than you have making it inside of my neighborhood because all of my people carry. We are all CPL holders. We all have a good relationship with the cops. We all pay our homeowners association fees, and we all make sure that anytime we see any profiling that needs to be done, we execute immediately and expeditiously. You know what I'm saying? But I've been following this story with the UAW. Shout out to the UAW. And just like I predicted, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for y'all to be able to join the live and tell. I don't even want to talk to people that agree with me today. I only want to talk to people that disagree with me today. Kobe says, I naturally look like an African warlord. Oh, my Jesus. Oh, my Jesus. Oh, my God. I only want to talk to people that disagree with me today. I don't want to talk to anybody that agree with me. I've been following the UAW, and I told y'all that this was going to happen. I told y'all that the UAW leaders were looking to strike, and it was nothing that automakers could do to even remotely come to the table with enough that would satisfy them. It's nothing that they can do that even remotely can come to the table with people that would have offered that satisfy them. Let's go ahead and get into it, y'all.
Get right to Fox News' Dave Kinchin. He's been following this all night tonight, and we do have these new developments. The Ford deal was seemingly pretty good, but not good enough.
Yeah, that's right. There were some big numbers in this Ford deal. Ford putting a deal on the table in an attempt to cool temperatures, but not happening. The union still holding strong tonight. Ford offering the UAW a new deal just 2 weeks to go before the current labor agreement expires. But tensions are building between the union and the other members of the Big Three.
Our goal is not to strike. Our goal is to bargain a fair contract. But if we have to strike to win economic and social justice, then we will.
What the hell is social justice? What the hell is striking for social justice? Honestly. And see, now this guy is becoming an enemy of mine. Just from a content creation perspective, not in real life. But this man is becoming an enemy of mine. And I know that y'all like to move in solidarity Yes, I know what all of the talking points were. I worked in the union for so many years. I was local 600, right there at the foundation of where the assembly line was started. Shout out to the Model T. Shout out to Ford Motor Company. Shout out to the Rouge Complex, because y'all paid me a lot of money in my career. But what the hell is striking for social justice mean? What the hell is that? I told y'all that Ford would never be able to put a deal on the table to where these people would ever be satisfied in the first place. Now, it's two ways of looking at it. You can strike for social justice, or you can work with the person. And usually what happens in a negotiation is I present you an offer. You say, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, but I do want to reject that, and I think you need to bump it up a little bit more on this. I'm going to present an offer on this side of the table. And then at some point you negotiate. There's some give, there's some pull, there's some take, there's some concessions on both sides. I'll take this, you take that. Usually what happens is, and what happened in the past, they said, listen, we don't like the bonuses that's going to all of the executives. They getting these outside bonuses as a part of their compensation. We don't like the fact that white collar workers can align their compensation along with the profitability of the company. And so what the union leaders then negotiated in the past, they said, we also want to participate in the success of the company. We don't just want an hourly wage. And so what automakers did was they tied the success into the compensation. And then when they was getting them $10,000 and $20,000 paychecks at the end of the year because of the success, because they was having, what was it called? It was a bonus that basically auto workers get, profit sharing checks. So they negotiated profit sharing checks. And so at the end of the year, they started getting profit sharing checks, similar to how white collar workers and executives were getting bonuses as a result of it also. They didn't used to get profit sharing checks because that had went away during the recession and everything like that. And so what happens is you give and you take and you negotiate. If they present an offer on the table, you don't say, I don't like that, I'm about to strike. You come back and you negotiate as a result of it, right? But I'm telling you that this man is hell-bent. He was already hell-bent on trying to teach the company a lesson. He's not trying to work with the company on the behalf of the workers. He's trying to teach them a lesson so that they can ultimately have to suffer at the hands of the workers, which is not in the best interest of the people that work for the company. All right?
President Shawn Fain taking to Facebook Live announcing charges of unfair labor practices filed with the National Labor Relations Board against GM and Stellantis regarding stalled labor talks.
So they filed a lawsuit. Well, let me hear what he got to say.
We need to speak out together with one voice against GM and Stellantis' illegal refusal to bargain in good faith.
So remember when I told y'all the other day what historically UAW meant? I know this intimately. This is how I'm able to more effectively vet what companies you're supposed to invest in, because this is why I tell y'all need to truly understand what it is that you're investing in, not just say, well, this company is a dividend company or this company was making profits. No, you need to understand every single aspect of the business before you invest in it, because it could affect your balance sheet. 100%. It could affect your dividend. It could affect your investment all the way across the board. And I told y'all that historically what unions would do was they would pick a target to then set the precedent of how they wanted to negotiate their contracts with the rest of the companies once they reached an agreement. And so I told y'all that Ford was the company that they picked, but then they just flat out rejected the offer from Ford, which it was supposed to be a really good offer. I don't know what the details of the offer is. It's supposed to be off, in the table, right? But it was a really good offer, and they just flat out rejected it. They didn't say we're going to continue to negotiate up until the strike date. They just completely rejected it. And then they filed a lawsuit against General Motors and Stellantis, to which they saying that they refusing to negotiate. Well, no, they're not refusing to negotiate. The company that you set the precedent for was supposed to be Ford Motor Company, which then is a waterfall effect for how it is that you negotiate the rest of your contracts. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I'm telling you, they're trying to ruin these people's lives. And ultimately, what companies then start to do is that long term, they remember this. Leadership remembers this. And then what they do is they wind up moving all of their manufacturing to Mexico so that they no longer have to be interdependent on what the fuck is going on over here in Michigan, Tennessee, California, New York, wherever it is that they got a plant. they start to move manufacturing, or they build up capacity in other places just in case something like this happens in the future. They start moving away from it. And it also sets the precedent of other companies such as the Nissans, the Hondas, the Toyotas, because then the workers are looking and they saying, we don't want to be a part of that shit. We not unionizing. All companies takes good care of us. All companies taking good care of us. It set the precedent, and then nobody wants to join the UAW ranks because they've already ruined their reputation of being against the company, not necessarily for the workers.
And we need to be ready to go on strike if necessary.
UAW members overwhelmingly voted to authorize a strike last week, but Fain says hitting the picket lines is not the goal if the money looks right.
What's driving members' expectations are the Big Three's profits. You can't make $21 billion in profits in half a year and expect members to take a mediocre contract. You can't make $250 billion in North American profits over the last decade and expect us to keep aiming low and settling lower.
GM responded to the charge in a statement saying, in part, we are surprised by and strongly refute the NLRB charge filed by the International UAW. We believe it has no merit and is an insult to the bargaining committees. We have been hyper-focused on negotiating directly and in good faith with the UAW and are making progress.
You make progress. You don't necessarily bend. You don't fold. You stay at the negotiating table. You do the thing that's in the best interest of the people. You don't file a lawsuit in the middle of a negotiation. Who does that? Who files a lawsuit in the middle of a negotiation? Somebody said, what's Mr. Fain's salary? Mr. Fain is the person that's right here at the bottom of my screen. He is the leader of the UAW. He is the UAW president. These guys and these union leaders, if y'all understood what these guys were about, don't y'all know that the company pay these dudes and these dudes don't even really have a job? I'm glad you said that. Don't y'all know that a lot of these union leaders and these presidents and stuff like that, these guys get a salary from the company and they don't even have to do any work except for work on the behalf of whatever it is the worker wants them to do. They sit there, they sit in their office, they talk, they walk around, they say, hey, is the company treating you right? The company pays them to be against them when the negotiating start to take place. I'm telling you, I know these guys. I've seen it. I've seen it play out time and time again. I know it. I was a part of the union. I used to hate union dues coming up. Yo, they was taking union dues out of our check before we even got our 90 days in and we was considered a part of the union. They were taking union dues out of our check before we were even considered a part of the union and we got our 90 days in and we was hired in permanently. These guys walk around and do no work to actually drive profits into the company, and they have their cushy jobs and they have their hard hats on, and they don't actually do anything, but they're getting paid by the company and they're getting overtime pay and they still got their benefits. It's crazy. It's crazy. It is crazy. And they sit there on the floor and they talk all of this shit and they rile everybody up. And they're not even the ones to do the job. They get in these elections so that they can have these cushy jobs. That's a fact.
Stellantis also chiming in, saying Stellantis has not received the filing, but is shocked by Mr. Fain's claims that we have not bargained in good faith. This is a claim with no basis in fact, and we are disappointed to learn that Mr. Fain is more focused on filing frivolous legal charges than on actual bargaining. Ford's offer would give hourly workers 15% guaranteed combined increases in wages and better benefits over the life of the contract, according to a release. Wages along with OT and bonuses would jump from under $80,000 last year to $92,000 in the first year of the deal, but the union leadership has said it's not quite a fair agreement. So could a strike be averted with just 2 weeks to go?
It might be really hard, just based on the rhetoric and where both sides are coming from.
Mike Martinez has been covering the contract talks for Automotive News. He says any strike would be devastating for the industry.
It could be financially disastrous, even if it's a short strike. We've seen estimates saying a 10-day strike could cost $5 billion. That's really an unfathomable amount of money. If it lasts beyond that, it would be even more.
Now, keep in mind the UAW, they're really trying to recover a lot of those concessions going back to the Great Recession. And the big three, they're not denying that there have been some big profits, but they say it's very expensive to transition full scale to EVs. So that's their argument on this. So 14 days to go, and that clock is still counting. That much we do know, guys.
Now, you want to know what I would do? You know what I want to know what I would do? Fuck it. Let's go balls to the wall and let's just see where we all crash out. Everybody can wind up getting laid off. I'm laying every fucking body off. Everybody can get laid off. Fuck it. Move production over to Mexico. India. They want jobs over there. Fuck it. Y'all don't even want to come to... Because see, this ain't even about what's fair and what's not. You filing a frivolous fucking lawsuit in the middle of a negotiation. How is that smart? Instead of staying at the table until the time expires and seeing if we can come to a deal. You filing a lawsuit, but you still expecting us to negotiate in good faith? I give them what they want, but I will be planning for the future, and I will be planning to eliminate everybody and everything that got to do. If it was me, I would be planning to crush the fucking union. If it was me, I would starve people out. I'm a different type of dude. If it was me, I would starve y'all the fuck out. Because you know what's going to happen? Don't y'all know? Let me give y'all a little bit of insight. And this is from a person that understands the automotive industry intricately. Did you know that there's cars from foreign automakers that have more American parts in them than cars that are manufactured or traditionally, historically, American automotive manufacturers? Do you know that Toyota cars, it shows it. If you go, when you go to the dealership and you stand out there, it'll tell you exactly what percentage of parts are. And so what they did was they finessed it, right? And so what they'll say is, these are parts that are made in North America. Because that includes Canada and Mexico too. But the majority of the parts that are made for foreign automakers, like some of these Toyotas, are primarily made in the United States of America and put together and manufactured and assembled here in America and then shipped off to you. There's foreign cars that are more American than American cars are today. Why do you think that is? Because foreign companies will then put more investment when they find that people are more willing to work with them, because it's incentivized for you to do the thing that's in your own best interest. It's not American assembled. The parts, it shows you where the parts come from, what percentage of the parts are actually manufactured here in the United States of America and in North America, in order for you to understand exactly how these companies are making money. But because you don't understand that, you think that just because it's a plant here for you to go through the assembly process means that that's something that actually you're supposed to stand on. I'm trying to tell you the truth. Because you don't understand it, y'all advocating for your own demise. Why do y'all think that companies resist the union if they so good? When you get rid of and you wind up killing the company that you work for, and you don't have a skill set to move over into something different, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? Just curious. I think that the workers deserve a raise. I think that they deserve to share in the profits. I think that they deserve good health care coverage. I think that they deserve job security. I think that they deserve getting guaranteed plan. But when you have a fucking leader that's filing a lawsuit during a negotiation, how do y'all think that actually breeds good faith and coming to the table? How are you a partner with me and you filing a lawsuit? If you was in a marriage with somebody and they filed a lawsuit right at during the negotiation of what it is that y'all coming to terms with, would you think that that person is trying to fleece you, or would you think that that person is trying to work for y'all both best interests? Because I'm just going to tell you, consumers, they different now. Consumers are completely different than what they used to be. Consumers don't give a fuck about buying American. See, a long time y'all was able to lean on that shit. Now they willing to buy whatever it is that suits their needs and is going to go inside of their driveway and get them to and from safely and keeps the most residual value in it. They don't care. Consumers are not concerned with whether or not they are buying Ford, Chrysler, and GM. That is only the people that are historic dinosaurs. It is a global marketplace. They're going to buy Kia. They're going to buy Tesla. They're going to buy foreign all day, Toyota, Honda, all of that. They don't care. They do not care. They not supporting y'all. They don't give a fuck about you. Consumers want the best value for their money. They not just gonna overpay for a $150,000 fucking platinum truck that you got on there. They don't care nothing about that. They gonna buy the thing that's in their own best interest. If y'all don't change and evolve y'all ways, y'all are going to go the same way as a lot of these extinct companies are going. I'm warning you. I'm telling you. If you think that you're going to retire in these spaces and that you're not eventually going to get laid off as a result of you then having this archaic mindset that does not feed into the success of both the members and the company itself, it's over. It's over. I'm warning you. I'm honest to God warning you. It's over. It is absolutely over. And everybody else is going to suffer as a result of it. Everybody at the Warren Center for GM and everybody down at the Renaissance Center and everybody over in Dearborn. I toured it. They offered me a position over there in corporate to head up their UX UI for what it is that they got going on in their new division. I seen what was going on as far as what they was building. I talked to the leadership. I'm very well connected in what's going on in all of these different places, including the new technology center that Ford is building over in Corktown. I am intimately familiar with every single thing that's going on, and I'm trying to tell you, when you see a company or a union that files a lawsuit 2 weeks before a strike deadline against people that wasn't even their initial target. Ford is the initial target. They just flat out rejected it. They never came back to the table. Then they filed a lawsuit against GM and Stellantis, and you think that this is going to fly? Okay. All right. I warned you that this was going to happen. I guarantee you they're going to strike. Well, I don't guarantee anything. In my personal opinion, I believe that they're going to strike. In my personal opinion, I believe that they're going to strike. Let me read some of the super chats and then I'm going to move over into the next thing. Aaron says, I agree mostly, but the biggest thugs wear suits. Yeah, but I ain't got to worry about losing my life as a result of it. I think that thugs wear all things. I just ain't got to worry about not coming out of the bank alive and getting back to my family in the middle of the night. Aaron says, the union leader sounds like a Black Lives Matter leader. Flags. The dude said that he going to strike for social justice. Striking for social justice? Alvin S. says, UAW, social justice equal union lives matter, shaking my damn head. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Don't worry, I'm going to drop the link in the chat for y'all to be able to cam up and say whatever it is that you want to say. Ronnie Robinson says, good morning, Mr. Anton. Hope all is well. UAW is striking for their last big payday. They see automation is coming tomorrow along with outsourced cheaper labor. UAW, you better tread carefully. I agree. I don't think that it's going to be any shortage of paydays because they're not going to regress. But at the same time, I think that they see the writing on the wall and they're about to throw their people under the bus as a result of it. Ike Kennedy says, UAW ain't UPS. Can't really outsource what UPS does, but you damn sure can have Jose and Patel making cars overseas, and that's exactly what's going to happen. And it takes less parts to be able to make these upcoming cars, way less parts, thousands of less parts to make these upcoming cars than it does to make the ones that's currently in production today. Greg Charlie is in the building, says that Ford offer was trash. They proposed to make everything bad about being an auto worker worse than GM Stellantis went days without even showing up to the negotiations. They are lying to the media. Okay, well then come up here and came up and talk about it because I think that they absolutely being transparent. Jeremy Bradford says, used to work at SHAP on the line from 2011 to 2018. I seen the writing on the wall back then, used their money to pay for school and became an engineer. And that's what people really need to be doing, is making a transition instead of being interdependent on the company in order to continue to live their lifestyle. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. I want to talk about student loans. Did you know that there was more business and why people are so incentivized in order to get these student loans back popping. Shout out to yo boy Maul 8. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Listen, this is the live stream to make y'all uncomfortable today. This is the live stream that's going to make y'all uncomfortable today. On Fridays, I give you the uncomfortable truth so that you can cam up and be able to tell me what your thoughts are and say what you want to say. I'm going to drop the link in the chat shortly. There's a whole sub-industry behind student loans that a lot of people are not familiar with. Let's talk about it, y'all.
Student loans are a big business. The U.S. has amassed over $1.7 trillion in outstanding student debt. Until recently, it was the largest non-housing debt for more than a decade.
The first time it broke $1 trillion was back in 2012, and that's when it caught all the media attention.
We've seen a big growth in the cost of education over the past 10 or 20 years, and this has really showed up in the student loans outstanding.
But while more than 43 million Americans...
Hey, hold on. Let me say this. Y'all know I can see y'all chats. I interact with the chat the entire time. You don't have to put it 8 times and copy and paste it a bunch of times. That's going to get you timed out. All right? That's going to get you timed out. I see what you guys are saying. I see Fan being crazy in the chat as usual. I see RG3. I see Jordan. I see Azriel. I see Tam. I see everybody. All right? Y'all don't have to put it 1,000 times in there. I see everything. I interact with the chat. I'm one of the very few content creators that pay attention to what you guys say and feed off your energy. You don't have to put it 1,000 times. I can see it.
Americans are currently holding student debt. Many are unaware of what exactly happens with their loans.
I think it would be pretty difficult for the average American to try to track where their loan actually resides.
There exists a market where billions of dollars worth of student loans are packaged and sold as assets known as slabs to some of the biggest investors in America.
I would say that most average Americans are not aware of student loan
see you, true to self.
These securities are very, I would say, not transparent, and it's hard to understanding by average investor.
So what exactly are slabs? And how does it help Wall Street profit from student loans?
I bet you didn't even know that there was an entire subculture that came along with buying and selling student loans and how it is that they package a deal. Here, let me revise it like this. Let me explain it to you like this. For all of you that have a mortgage, right? I know that a lot of you guys are familiar with the fact that they buy and sell your mortgage. I don't even have to go into mortgage, but let's use mortgages, for example, right? Have you ever had a mortgage where you originated that loan, right? So you may originate that loan with Chase or Bank of America or Rocket Mortgage or whatever, so on and so forth, right? But then eventually your loan then transitions over into a completely different company that they sell your loan. Are you familiar with what happened in the housing industry in 2008, in which they would package different loans and different mortgages, prime, subprime, so on and so forth. And so they would package that into one thing, into what they would call a tranche, in which they would ultimately move off their books in order to sell it and make egregious amount of fees as a result of it to somebody that was looking to make the interest off the payments that you were making on your loans based off of the probability of you keeping your payments on time. Are you also familiar with a student loan moving from one servicer to the next? Have you ever seen a student loan move from one servicer to the next? So imagine how much money is absolutely going out the window as far as Biden then pausing or keeping paused just student loans in order for him to try to secure another election victory. Imagine the amount of money that's not moving and circulating inside of the economy from a lot of people that have a vested interest in order to make money off your student loans when you aren't paying them. Imagine how they can move these over into a completely different company, but how that stalls the process if we don't have these student loan payments in flight. There is nothing more important to these companies than to get these loan payments back up in order. And that's why in September of this month, you are going to start having to deal with student loan payments once again. And I'll also tell you this. I believe that student loans is profit outside of credit cards, right? From an interest rate perspective, I believe that student loans is the best investment for the federal government, 100%. Because think about it. Because it's backed by the federal, what are the two things that you can't get discharged from bankruptcy? What are the two things that you can't get discharged from bankruptcy? It's the two things that the government backs. IRS debt, whatever you owe in taxes, you're going to pay that money before you die. We coming to get that money. And student loans. Student loans and IRS. Those are the two things that you cannot discharge inside of bankruptcy. And so if it's government backed, why would they do the thing that's not in their own best interest as far as continuing to make money? It's a whole industry that comes along with paying interest on a loan. So, okay, if I'm a business and I'm trying to understand how I can make the most money possible while also guarantee my investment, the least amount of risk, the maximum amount of profits. Because remember, you can borrow as much as you want with student loans. You don't have to really qualify for them. You don't have to even go through any hoops or anything like that. As long as you fill out the paperwork, if you fill out your FAFSA, they're going to guarantee you two things. They're going to show you what your grants are, usually a Pell Grant. And then also on top of that, they're going to show you what you qualify for in student loans, right? And so you didn't have to have a good credit score. You didn't have to do any of that. All you had to do, and because you took out more than what you really needed in order to really maintain your lifestyle, you were able to acquire a ton of money in student loans. Now, I'm going to make money off of those student loans. How? From the interest payments. So you pay the principal and then you pay the interest, and then they incentivize you to do so by saying that we can pause the amount of money that you paying and then just let it continue to accrue interest over a period of time if you want to go into forbearance. Now, student loans are even more egregious than credit cards. Why? Not because of the interest rate, but because how long you have to pay them. And most people only going to make the minimum payment. So some of y'all are making a income-based payment, which means that the loan continues to grow and you only paying into the interest. You're not necessarily paying down the principal. That's just free money for the banks. That's free money for the government. You're paying an income-based payment. And so what happens is you're only paying the interest. You're not paying down the principal. And so that interest continues to accrue over a period of time. And so you're going to continue to make it. Now, if I can get you to pay for something for 10 years instead of paying for it for 5 years, I can get you to pay it for 120 months. And you probably going to have a life event. So you're going to extend that for 15 years. If I can get you to pay interest for the next 15 years on this loan, understanding that it's front loaded, meaning that the majority of the money that you're paying in the beginning when you first get your job is going to be going towards the interest payments instead of going over into the principal. And I'm going to get you to pay for at least 10 years because you're going to make the minimum payment. Why wouldn't I make a ton of money off of that? You're paying longer in interest for student loans than you paying for anything outside of your mortgage. It's a finesse. So now I'm able to take that and I can market it because I can say, listen, this is what you as an investor are going to make on this for the life of the loan. And this is what our data is saying. This is how many people actually default. This is how many people are actually paying off their loans. This is how many people are going to hold on to their loans. The worst thing for a bank, for a borrower in any industry that you in, the worst thing for a borrower in any industry that you in It's not even the person that don't pay whatever it is that they owe, because they can always come back and take your house. And a house, in most instances, as long as they don't have a housing crisis, is going to be worth much more than what it is that you're going to lose the equity in the house, and they're going to make much more for it. It's a hassle to have to deal with it, right? That's why they like home loans instead of car loans, because cars are depreciating assets, whereas homes continue to appreciate in most instances, and they can come and take your home and come and get that. The worst thing that they can deal with is a person that pays off their stuff faster, right? The worst thing that they can deal with is a person that does not pay the interest on their loan, because they don't make no money off of you. They don't make no money off of you. When you pay off your stuff fast, you somebody that they can trust, they can hopefully make a little bit of money off of you in a little bit of time that they do. But if you pay off your stuff faster, that's the worst thing for the bank, because they don't make no money off of you. Their goal is to lend as much money as possible, not necessarily hold on to the money. Your deposits is just a minimal down payment for their ability to make money off of your money. That's how banking works. And so because people don't understand how money works, they just go out and they take a bunch of student loans. They take a 30-year mortgage instead of a 15 or a 10. They go and get car loans. They go and get credit cards, and they've gamified it and say that you need to build your credit instead of focusing on your assets. And this is how you finessed.
The biggest and the most well-known type of asset-backed securities are mortgage-backed securities.
They don't want me to tell you this. The industry, the banking industry, makes money off of your ignorance, and they want to keep you dumb. They don't make money off of this. This is the worst type of advice that they don't really want you to have sound financial advice, because that takes money out of their pocket. The worst thing that you can be doing right now is educating yourself and fighting against the thing that's in your own best interest. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat.
Or MBS. There were more than $12 trillion worth of outstanding mortgage-backed securities by the end of 2021.
Securitization, its history really started off with the mortgage market. And the mortgage market is a much larger market than other forms of consumer credit, especially other forms of financing of consumer credit. So that lends itself to being a much larger market.
Student loan asset-backed securities, or SLABs, refer to securities that are specifically built around.
SLABs are literally short for student loan asset-backed securities. Student loan, remember that, SLABs. Whenever you see somebody say SLABs, it stands for student loan asset-backed securities, okay?
The way that borrowers get student loans is of two ways. If they're getting a federal student loan, they usually apply using FAFSA, right? If they're going to get a private student loan or a private credit student loan, they would apply through a bank or through a lender.
And the private student loans is even worse for y'all, because have y'all ever seen one of the ways in which they get you to even do private loans is then they get your parents on the hook for it, and then your parents pay for it for the rest of their life also. It's so
loans
dumb.
that are then created are bundled together into a pool.
And this is what they call tranches in the real estate industry or in the mortgage industry, but they call it a loan pool over for student loans. They're bundling the products, and they're selling it as a package over into the banks or whoever it is on Wall Street that sees this as value, and this is the way in which they make money. They also make money from the fees also.
And these pools are often highly diversified by regions, by school, by borrower type, for example. And the diversification really protects the investor from losses that are idiosyncratic. They're then transferred to a special purpose trust, which is set up to hold the loans and issue the securities. Once that's done, the securities are then rated by a credit rating agency. Once they're packaged in this way, the securities are then sold to financially sophisticated institutional investors.
Can't y'all see that y'all to play? Can't you see that the middle class is the play? They literally just broke this down for you in even more of a simple way than I have. You to play. This is the exact same play that they did when it came to mortgages and that they still do today. This is the exact play that they made with regard to bundling different mortgages together depending on, and they call it diversify, right? They diversify it because it's different people in there depending on your region, depending on your credit score, depending on your equity, depending on how much that you have in mortgage back. Everything is called diversification in order for them to better bundle it, and then they put a rating on it. They used to call them AAA, right? Before the mortgage crisis. They put a rating on it in order for them to be able to sell it, get the fees from it, and then they sell it over to the investors, and then the investors then diversified their portfolio to be able to make money off of you. This is really what it really comes to. Don't y'all really understand that y'all to play? Y'all to play. The more money that you borrow, the more that they keep you under duress, the more that they continue to promise you things that they're not going to deliver on, the more that they continue to get you to market to each other that credit is important, the more that they continue to tell you these things without adding the context to help you to understand of how to use credit correctly, right, to leverage it correctly, the more that they can continue to get you to finance your lifestyle, whether it be college, student loans, cars, mortgages, credit cards, Klarna, Afterpay, trips, Christmas, equipment that you think that you need in order to start a business that you're not even going to be profitable in instead of scaling up correctly. Hats, clothes, water, businesses, small business loans. Don't y'all understand that y'all are the ones that's getting played, that you the finesse? That all I got to do is keep you busy marketing to each other, especially through the music and Instagram and all of this other type of stuff. And y'all told each other to go and get into trucking, and all y'all went out and bought trucks and shit like that. All I got to do is keep playing y'all, and y'all going to be the finesse. That's literally what the government is saying to y'all. They don't even have to sell you anything anymore. America don't even have to manufacture a product. They are making money off of you, making money for them in order to continue to live a lifestyle. Don't you understand that you to play? That the middle class is the ones that's suffering as a result of the play? Jesus Christ. You to play.
When the borrower pays down their student loan, that cash flow is then used to pay down the investor.
Sallie Mae and Navient are the two largest publicly traded companies issuing slabs. These assets are underwritten by some of the biggest banks and corporations, like Bank of America, Barclays, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs.
And y'all continue to sell to each other, and y'all don't even realize how much y'all doing it. Let me read some of these super chats. I got one more thing that I want to share with y'all before I open it up to the chat. Shout out to all of my people that hit a like for the algorithm. Your boy Maul8 says, just showing love and appreciate the content. Bro, I'm Local 7. Shout out to all of my people that's in the union. Shout out to my UAW members. Shout out to my Unifor members. Shout out to my Teamsters members. Shout out to my truck drivers. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat today. Jason Lee says, good morning, Anton. A lot of bubbles coming out of NVIDIA lately. CoreWeave, I don't think that NVIDIA is a bubble. I don't. I think that a lot of times something get popularized because of social media, and so we start to see a run up in the price. But I think that the core of what NVIDIA is solid. They are largely powering the AI boom. We have a semiconductor chip war that's happening across the world. More things are going to need these chips. What I would study if I were y'all is I would actually study ASML. I've been telling y'all this for the last 2 to 3 years to make sure that you're studying ASML. ASML is one of the most important companies when it comes to the semiconductor chip boom. They are literally the only company that you can buy the equipment from that they then use to put inside of the plants to make the semiconductor chips themselves. ASML, listen, when y'all start to understand and y'all start to research different companies, don't just research the ones that's popular. Research the ones that are interdependent or the companies that they're interdependent on in order for them to continue to thrive as a company themselves. If you're looking at Apple, don't just look at Apple. Look at their suppliers. Look at, who it is that they contract out with. Look at who supplies their glass. Look at who supplies the cameras. Sony is participating in Apple's success. Samsung is participating in Apple's success. Look at their rivals, so on and so forth. Continue to research all of these different companies beyond just what you see on the surface. And don't have a fear of missing out. Don't have FOMO. Don't have FOMO, all right? Shout out to Jason Lee. I appreciate you for the super chat, my friend. Also, Fa Brown, my dog. Shout out to Fa Brown. Says, yo, big dog, I need to know what you was sipping on Wednesday night show. I need some of that ASAP. You was cooking, LOL. Hashtag God moment. Shout out to Fa Brown. I appreciate you. Make sure that you guys tap into the Patreon because we have some phenomenal conversations. Shout out to Fi Brown, one of my dogs that I mentor and I coach. Really good guy, very successful, running it up and is becoming more successful every single day. I appreciate you, Fi Brown. Let me continue into the show. I got one more thing that I want to do. The fun thing. I love to listen to people that are broken, overworked, allegedly, according to them. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat during this particular segment of the live stream. If you have any questions, and I only want to talk to people today that disagree with me. If you disagree with me about the union, you disagree with me about profiling, you disagree with me about Oprah, you disagree with me about Nvidia, you disagree with me about student loans, you are more than welcome to be able to come up here and tell me exactly what it is that your thoughts are, and you don't even have to get on camera. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications.
$98 goddamn dollars at cost.
I wasn't expecting that. Good grief. Oh my God. Oh. I wasn't expecting that. Jesus. Nothing like a white woman yelling in your ear in the morning Millionaire morning show. Good Jesus Christ. What is happening out here in these streets?
Let's go to fill up my tank. $98.
Huge news this week that the United Nations had a vote on whether or not food was a right, and finding out that the United States is the only country that said no really doesn't make me want to go outside. It doesn't make me want to pay my bills. It doesn't make me want to do anything. Honestly, it's lengthening the deep sadness that I feel living in this country that already existed. Food isn't...
Then leave. Then leave. You know how they always say to black people, or I even say it, listen, if you don't like what's going on over here, and you think that Africa is the motherland, then why don't you move back to Africa? Why don't you move back to the mountains of Caucasus with your nose earring? Why don't you leave? If you don't like what's happening over here and you don't like the cost of food, I watched a documentary last night on my way to sleep, right? And it was a really good documentary, and it's on Netflix if y'all want to check it out. It's the number one most watched thing as far as yesterday. It was the number one most watched thing. And it was basically, I forgot what it was called, but it was a documentary based off of the guy trying to understand where people live the longest and what contributes to that life, right? And so the part that he went to is Okinawa, Japan. Okinawa, Japan is largely considered the place where people go to live the longest. It's their lifestyle, it's the food that they eat and all of this other type of stuff. And what I found out during this documentary is that food was largely considered a scarcity back, decades ago, to where they then incentivized more people to farm and create more food in order for us to be able to feed the world. Well, as a result of that, what they did was they started making it more colorful. They started adding more sugar. What it did was it produced way more calories to be able to fill you up faster, but not necessarily add any sustenance into your life. But they found out that based off of what the FDA recommended of 2,000 calories per person, but they was producing on average about 4,000 calories worth of food per person, and that they needed to sell that food. And so what they did was they started making it more colorful. They started marketing it a little bit differently. They started adding high fructose corn syrup. They started adding things that make you more addictive, more sugar to it, but it didn't add any more value into your life. And so if you go over to Okinawa, they have a lot more food that takes a lot less calories, and it's produced naturally, which helps you live a longer life and you get more fulfilled. Whereas over here, we eat less. You can eat a hamburger that gives you 750, 1,000 calories. You can eat a whole meal over there that gives you 350 calories, and it's more fulfilling. It fills you up faster, and it doesn't actually make you less healthy. And so it's funny when I hear people like this talk about stuff like this, because he doesn't even understand that he's a part of the system that then continues to perpetuate the worst thing that's for us, while also giving money over into the coffers of the federal government and the Food Administration. And why do men wear bull rings inside of their nose? Nikki, I agree. Those bull rings piss me off also. I don't understand why people, let alone men, put a bull ring right here on their nose. What is that supposed to symbolize?
isn't a fucking right?
Yo, this world is so...
And no, food is not a right. Water is not a right. Water and food is something that you have to pay for in order for you to be able to survive. It is not a right.
Backwards. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of not...
Hold on. Give me a second, y'all. Give me a second. I just got to do something real quick. Reading that super chat shortly. Come on, y'all. When we look at these videos and these TikToks, you got to take into consideration who the people are that are saying this. This woman does not look like she is missing any meals at all. Not one meal. I mean, respectfully, I cannot understand how people that are humongous are complaining about a food shortage or how much food costs. You can cut at least for the next 2 to 3 months, you can cut your bills significantly and put that money into something else and invest in it. Honestly, genuinely, I'm honest about it. Yo, I've never seen a space where the most overweight country in the world are the ones that's complaining the most about money and food.
being able to afford daycare because it's the cost of my weekly pay for one day. I'm tired of spending
And who is having kids with these women? Who are having kids with these women? What the heck is going on out in these streets? Dog, that's what I'm saying. When I go in the grocery store and I see these women that be walking around with all of these little munchkins, and they just be having rolls on rolls and rolls and muffin tops on top of muffin tops on top of muffin tops with no waist trainer. I'd be like, man, that's crazy, bro.
$200+ a week just to feed my family.
Now, this is one time that I believe that she probably underreporting how much money she's spending on food. I believe that she's underreporting. I'm going to drop the link in the chat for y'all to be able to cam up, but I believe that she's underreporting.
I'm tired of filling my gas tank twice a week when I go to work twice a week and work from home the other days. I'm tired of working 2 jobs just to live the bare minimum, just to make it. This economy is not...
Y'all think that big girls need love too? I disagree. If you disagree with me, I just put the link in the chat for you to be able to cam up.
Set up for families or working moms. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
I disagree.
You make too much for government assistance, so we can't approve you. But you don't make enough to live, so...
I'm literally on the cusp of really just giving the fuck up. I'm so exhausted of pretending to be okay and then people still demanding me to be more, to be bigger.
Only if you disagree with me, cam up.
For their
Only
own
if you disagree
personal
with me.
enjoyment, but not for my
I'll bring
own
y'all up
mental
shortly.
fucking health. I find it very exhausting as a woman, as a black woman, as a...
I can't stand the whole black woman thing. What do y'all hold on, just curious. Do y'all think that gives what you saying more weight when you say as a woman, as a black woman? Is that supposed to mean something to us more than what regular people or whatever ever anybody else is saying? Is it supposed to be meaningful to us that y'all say that you a black woman and your opinion is supposed to hold more weight as a result of it? Just curious. Is it supposed to be more meaningful to us because you say that as a black woman, that it hit different? Is it supposed to hit me different? Is it supposed to be more meaningful to me? I'm just curious. Is it supposed to be more meaningful to me? Because you said as a black woman.
Queer black woman?
I didn't know she was going to throw that last part in there too. Hold on. Let me rewind this a little bit.
bigger, to be better for their own personal enjoyment, but not for my own mental fucking health. I find it very exhausting as a woman, as a black woman, as a queer black woman, to have to be everything for everybody. Women want me to be their best friend and confidant and their advice giver and leech all of my energy to bring them joy. Men want me to give them seduction. They want me to smile. They want me to only give the right answers and allow them to be in charge. Society wants me to shut up, go to work, be quiet, do as I'm told. My family wants me to be a support system, consistently giving all of myself as if I haven't become a completely new person since.
I got a question, y'all. What does it mean to be queer? What does it mean to be queer? I thought it was only two different people. I thought it was gay and not gay. Now we got so many different letters being stolen in the alphabet. I'm going to look it up so that I'm not ignorant to this. Queer. I'm going to literally pull this up for y'all really quickly. Hold on. Because I don't want to be ignorant, and I want to make sure that I'm having this conversation. I'm going to pull it up. Give me a second. I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to pull up exactly what the definition is. All right. Give me a second. I just Googled it. Now, this is according to Google. All right? This is according to Google. To be queer is strange and odd. That's the first thing that came up. It says that you strange and odd. Fan, are you queer? I know you definitely odd. Definitely strange. But I don't think that that's the entirety of the definition. Shout out to Fan in the chat. You'll be more than welcome to be able to help me to understand it a little bit better. Denoting or relating to sexual or gender identity that does not correspond with established ideas of sexuality and gender, especially heterosexual norms. So, you different. It's saying you strange, you odd, and you different according to the definition. Those are the adjective version of the definition. The verb definition says, look, I just put queer in Google. This is what it says. The verb definition of it, this part, says spoil or ruin. Noun. Offensive. I don't know what this is. View definition. That's what the definition says. This is what Google is telling me. Y'all need to be careful with how y'all identify yourselves as. That's what it says. Literally, that's what it says on my screen is the definition. I could be wrong, but it's telling me something different. So let's continue. All right? That's what I'm saying. Words mean things. You got to be careful with what you identify yourself as before you just start saying it based off of what somebody else tells you. You have to get the full understanding of it. And so when I don't understand something, I start to do a little bit of a deep dive, right? And I'm open to the possibility of y'all telling me something different. I dropped the link in the chat. I pinned it to the top of the chat. If anybody has any disagreement with me or they want to tell me something different, you're more than welcome to be able to jump on a live stream right now. And you don't even have to get on camera if you don't want to. I don't see, y'all was talking all of this stuff. Y'all had disagreements with regard to Oprah. You had disagreements with regard to the union. You had disagreements with regard to profiling and jugging. You had disagreements when it comes to student loans. I don't see nobody in the chat. Y'all know that we do this every Friday, that I dropped the link in the description for y'all to be able to, or in the chat, for y'all to be able to cam up and say whatever it is that y'all want to say. I don't see nobody saying nothing, and now everybody want to be quiet, but everybody was gangster inside of the chat. Let's continue.
I've been an adult. My boss needs me to be attentive, detail-oriented, focused, as if the world around me isn't completely crumbling into shit and I don't have enough money to pay my goddamn bills or clean water to drink in some areas of America, and then we still have to just smile and pretend like everything's okay. I just have to give too much. It's too fucking much, and I'm really tired. I have this constant need for escapism because I'm trying to bleed out of the skin.
Why do y'all keep throwing ism on everything, thinking that that's going to give it any more weight on the word? You know, I have this escapism that I'm doing and this evaluatism that I need to do. Like, come on, y'all.
Of capitalist, individualist society, but I am sucked back in because I'm
about to pull you up,
forced
Niecy.
to. And I'm really about to quit on y'all and leave this fucking place. I want to leave. I want to leave America. I want to leave corporate world. I want to leave the idea of how I should be a woman. I just want to be. I just want to be without any transcriptions of how I should be.
Okay, then leave. And don't worry about how you got to feed yourself or nothing like that. Just leave, just go, just bounce, and just keep it pushing. All right, so let me go ahead and bring y'all up. I'm curious as to what y'all thoughts are. Before I finish reading the super chats, I want to be able to bring y'all up. Let's see. Let's do like this. Hey, what's going on? Kobe?
Yes, sir.
Did you want to be on camera?
I would say not necessarily.
Okay, you don't have to be on camera. What's going on, my friend? What's the
Awesome.
word? Nisi, I'm going to come to you next. What's going on, Kobe?
Not much, sir. Not much. Just tuning in. I actually watch you a lot. I mean, you really have some good points, but like you said, today is a disagreement day, right? So we're bringing out our own, like, kind of like what do you call it, issues, and then we're going to address it. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I wouldn't even go back to the profiling part.
You want to cuss me out? You want to say, Anton, you ain't shit. I don't like you. Whatever.
No. Come on, Anton. No. I don't think you're a very likable person. You're a very likable person. Like, you actually give a lot of gems out here. I'm not gonna lie. I've taken a lot from you, even though like I said, I work in finance, but a lot of things you say, I mean, some of the people in our industry don't even, know it.
I know.
And you've actually walked the walk.
The people in your industry can't fuck with me, Kobe. Is it Kobe?
Yeah, Kobe.
Kobe, the people people in finance that went to school with it, they can't fuck with me. That's a fact.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You're right. There's some sharp tools up there, but you're up there with them. I totally give you that credit. You got it. You got it.
All right.
But
so what do you disagree with?
My disagreement. Like I said, I won't go back to the profiling, but I will. My main my main concern is with the student loans, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's with the student loans, and it's in a nutshell. Why? Like, I mean, you run a business. You know what a legal person is, and you know what a natural person is, right? Why are natural persons treated differently from legal persons when it comes to debt? With regards to student loans.
You saying that somebody that's a legal person versus somebody that was inherently born here?
No. A natural person and a legal person. So like in business, like a natural person will be your average Joe, right? Mm-hmm. A legal person will be your entity, like an LLC or any business out there, mm-hmm. right? Now, why are these two people, the average Joe and the business, treated differently when it comes to debt? Because with the business,
because they use debt differently.
I understand that, but not every business uses debt like correctly, mm-hmm. right? They may mismanage like millions of dollars, and they are allowed to file Chapter 11, 13. They get off the hook. They can start all over again.
They do a reorganization, correct?
Right. Now, with the natural person, an average Joe, if I The government wants an educated population.
Why would they want an
Okay, I get
educated
it.
population?
That's what they say, and that's why they give out, like, easy access to student loans, because that's why they say an educated population makes for a better one. So, I mean,
Yeah, they
student
want you
loan, we're
educated
going
in
to
your
make it
ability to be able to contribute into society, but they don't want you educated as far as you
right.
continue to be financially savvy because they make more money with you being ignorant. Why would they want you to be educated in that way?
I totally understand it. Now, see, you are talking from the perspective of someone who actually knows what it is. A person who is like 18 years old, coming from a family that's, no offense, doesn't really have like a good like financial literacy that you have, they are already at a disadvantage. They don't know this. So if they're going to school and they say, okay, you need to be educated, and most jobs like in STEM, you're going to have to get some like a decent amount of college education to be able to land those jobs for those higher pays.
Correct.
They go into debt, right? They go into debt. Now they come out. Very few of the, very few of them or their colleagues are actually getting hired for these jobs. These are like, these higher paying jobs are not just laying around. You know this, and I know this. You're not going to come out of college making six figures. You're going to make
Yes, you
about like
can.
maybe 50. Now,
It depends on the industry that you go into.
yeah, right. Like I said, it's not 50 to 60% of the job market, available job vacancies when it comes to someone coming out of college. It's
Correct.
probably like 20%, 10%. I'll give it 10% maximum. But you have someone coming out. So let's say you have about 60 to 70% of these students coming out. They're not going to land these jobs. They're going off of a 40, 45, 50K, salary. Coming out with the average student loan debt, like average student tuition right now in America is around like 22,000, 24,000, right, a
Which
year.
is not a lot.
Right, but you multiply that by 4, that's around what? 6 figures. You're coming out with upwards of $80,000, $100,000 in debt.
So
You're
where's
going
the
to be paying
disagreement?
that now.
We haven't disagreed
So
yet.
the disagreement is that when they come out and they don't get these like jobs that will be able to like have them be able to afford their way of life, make the car payments, pay their rent, and then plus these student loans.
Who told you to go and get a car payment?
I mean, not everybody has like like $6,000, $7,000 laying around to put
It's
on a
called public
down
transportation.
payment or buy a
They
car.
got buses, they got feet, they got bikes, they got all kind of shit. Who told you? No, hold on.
Anton.
See, nope. This is where we gonna have
Okay.
a problem because this is a self-inflicted wound. Who told you that you had to go and get a car payment?
Nobody.
So
But
what are you
if you come to
complaining
places
about?
like North Carolina in the South, right? In the South, not every place is like with regards to public transportation. It's not accessible in most places.
Then move.
Anton, if they move, they're going to like a place that has access to like public transportation. Like in most places, will be in New York, Boston,
I'm almost
New
positive
Jersey.
that most of the major cities in North Carolina got buses and shit.
They do, but it's not accessible in most places.
Well, then move closer. You move to the place that you want to be at in order to go party. You move up to college in order to use them student loans in order to have a good time. You do a lot of things that you get done the thing that's most important to you. I do not feel sorry for people that go and create self-inflicted wounds and overfinance on a car that they don't need and then complain about the student loans that they can't pay.
It's not necessarily about the car, right? It's not necessarily
You
about the
added
car.
that as a part of
If
the
it-
conversation. We gonna
it-
address it.
Okay, I totally understand. If let's say a car payment of like $100 or $200 a month, that's okay, right? You're going to be paying for
it's not.
insurance, that's okay. But
No, it's not. Because the total
I get
cost
it.
of a car.
It could be zero. I get it.
The total cost of a car is not just the car payment, it's the insurance. And if you're young, you're going to be
Right.
paying a higher insurance because you're not even above the age of 25. It's also the maintenance, it's the gas, it's everything involved in it, right? So your car payment is not the entirety of what it is that you're paying in order to be able to have that vehicle. It's more to it, right? I don't understand why people have to have a car, let alone a car payment.
See, Anton, I totally understand you. They don't have to. Like, I don't have a car payment. I do not. I
So
have
why
two
you
trucks
add it
that
in
I
there
bought with
then?
cash.
Why you keep adding it in there then?
Because they're not me, Anton. I'm
I'm
coming from a
giving you the
perspective. I'm
solution.
putting myself right. I'm putting myself in the shoes of someone who's just coming out and has no clue. I work in finance. I went to school for
I
economics.
can't put
I
myself
know
in the shoe.
this.
I can't do that because all of these wounds are self-inflicted wounds. We've had so many decades of freedom and opportunity and ways in which we can then be successful, and we've had experiences that we can leapfrog off of and look at other people and make an informed decision. I was not raised. I was raised between Norfolk and Chippewa on Greenlawn. My address was 20214 Greenlawn. My phone number was 313-345-6758. I was raised in the hood. I am not any more privileged than anybody else. I did have a father in my life, which is not something that makes me more privileged. That's their reasonable service to participate in my life as their parents. I educated myself. I used Google. I studied. I self-taught myself when it came to software engineering, and then I went to school for it and educated myself on that. I wanted more. I had work ethic. When I want more, I do more. I see people putting more effort into the video games. They put more effort into studying lyrics. If you ask them to recite a current song that just came out, they know it word for word right out the bat. They're going to put their money into going in the concert. They're going to have a Mary jeans on. They're going to be the freshest in the group. They can find money to smoke weed, but you can't find money to pay off your student loans and do the thing that's in your own best interest because it's not popular to do. And everything that you explaining to me right now is first world problems based off of self-inflicted wounds, not based off of a lack of understanding, information, or information that's even available for you to learn for yourself. There is no excuse, zero excuse for people to give themselves these self-inflicted wounds and then pull up their cameras and go on TikTok and complain about what the government ain't doing for them. You can do it. You have the opportunity of a lifetime, especially if you were born in this country. Especially if you were born in this country. I'm not going for it, bro. I'm not going for it.
Anton, I totally understand what you're saying, but okay, I grew up playing sports, right? I played soccer and basketball. And at any time, as humans, we live in we have a social order, we have hierarchies. A person who was born, right, coming in, very young from 6 to 18, does not have a say on what we do as a collective. And bear in mind, yes, Anton, you've done well for your life. You make great decisions. You're doing good. But when you're looking at a country and you're looking at the economy, you don't go from the perspective of a few people. When an economy is doing good, it's when 70% of the people are doing good. If 20% of the people are doing good and the 80% are not doing good, we cannot say that the economy is doing good. And that comes from
The economy is doing
leadership.
phenomenal. The economy is not based off of whether or not people feel like they're doing good. The economy is based off of whether or not people have the opportunity to continue to excel. As long as you have an abundance of jobs, unemployment is low, opportunity and opportunity for people to continue to level up. Listen, nobody is telling you to go to a major university. You can go to a community college. You don't even have to do that to get a good job now. You can go to a trade. You can also work as many jobs as you want. You're not limited to it. You can go to you can go and do anything that you want because there's no lack of opportunity and because there's no preventing you from continue to get as many jobs as you want. See, now in 2008 when there were no jobs available, that's how you say an economy is not doing good. But as long as unemployment is low, opportunity is plentiful, and you have the ability to continue to level up, most of these jobs offer tuition reimbursement and assistance, and nobody takes advantage of it. People don't even pour into their 401k, but they go and buy a new car. They neglect to go and pay off their student loans, but then they go and finance something that they don't need for somebody that don't even care about them. When people using Klarna in order to do, you can't use self-inflicted wounds to then determine whether or not an economy is doing good or not. It's an economy doing well is based off of an opportunity that you have in order to level up, not whether or not you have self-inflicted wounds.
Okay, so you can have an opportunity to do well for your life, but it doesn't necessarily mean these kids coming up are prepared for that opportunity because they're not, and the results show for itself.
It sounds like their parents need to do better, and it's not the government's responsibility to do so.
Anton, after World War II, when I'm the West was in chaos, and the economies was I'm 30 now.
You 30. What do you do for a living?
Yes.
You're in finance, right?
I work in finance, yeah.
You went to school for it, right?
I went to school for economics, yeah.
Okay. Do you have debt?
I do have some, but I don't have a problem
Card
paying
debt, credit card debt, anything like that?
Student loans for my
So
economics
the
degree.
only debt that you have is student loans based off of your education, right?
Correct.
Did your parents teach you that, or did you teach yourself as a result of that?
My dad was a professor. My dad actually, he recommended me to take the loans. My dad, he was a professor. Yeah.
He recommended you to take the student loans. Did he recommend you to
Yeah,
take
'cause he told-
consumer debt?
No.
Okay, so you telling me that your dad then put into you what you needed in order to be successful, right?
Yeah, he told me to go to college, and once I got the loans, he told me, "Hey, you're gonna have to be responsible for paying your own tuition,
And
but
so
you're going
because
to
you
have to
knew that, you
take
were
a
more
major."
intentional about your decisions, right?
Yeah, I am. I am.
So I'm trying to understand, if you were able to take ownership and responsibility of making smart decisions, but you wasn't necessarily economically savvy, but you just took the advice in order to not have self-inflicted wounds and then learned on your way, how do you then remove that responsibility from other people?
I am not removing that responsibility. Why? Because I had a father. We always say it
That's
over
what we
here.
all
Most of
supposed to
the
have.
most of
That's not something that's unique.
so
That's a
I
reasonable
like I said,
service.
I totally understand that, Anton, but what is happening in America today? Most of the kids coming up, they're not even growing up in, like, a two-parent household.
Which is
They don't
why
even
we
have a
hold the
father.
women accountable for having the majority of the children with 20% of the men. That's not best for them.
Anton,
We are
you can hold them accountable all you want.
Champion and celebrate. Listen, you're not doing
Anton,
them no favor by trying to be sympathetic to the fact that they have
No,
self-inflicted wounds. You have to hold these people
Anton.
accountable and push them. Fuck that.
Anton,
No,
I
no
get
excuses.
it. I am not absolving them of the responsibilities. But guess what? The damage is already done.
It's not. Yeah,
We
that's
can't
why
go back and
remove
change it.
ourselves. We can't fix these people. We got to let them fall to the wayside, and then you got to work on the next generation.
But if they happen to make a good amount of the population, a decent amount, even 5% or 10% of the population, is still a problem, because that can actually it can cause a ripple effect. It's still a problem.
Amongst
We
poor
have to
people,
address it.
It's not gonna happen to my daughter.
Anton, like I said, you have. I was actually making an example, right?
Mhm.
After World War II, right? After World War II, when the West was in chaos, what happened? You had these guys come in. You have the monetarists, you have the free market, like, enthusiasts, the Milton Friedmans, and all those guys. They were like, let the economy, wake up on its own. People are ailing. They can't pay their bills. They're making shit wages. The whole place is in chaos, right? What happened? Another economist comes around, John Maynard Keynes, and he says, you know what? Instead of actually letting the economy, people taking that responsibility and solving these issues on their own, what are we going to do? We are going to incentivize them to do it. We are not just going to let them, do it on their own, because they don't even have any direction. If you allow them to go on the path they're going on, they're even going to make worse decisions. So a bigger person has to step in and say, no.
So you
This is what
so
we're going to
basically
do.
what you're saying is, what we need to do is we need to put these people on our shoulders and incentivize them to do the thing that's in their own best
No,
interest, right?
no. I'm not
was the
saying we
example
should
for
put them
you?
on the shoulders.
We need to
I'm
incentivize them
saying
to do the
that
thing that's in their own best interest, right?
no.
So what do you
My
suggest we do?
my whole issue with the student loan is that if people are in distress, right? If a business is in distress, took out billions of loans, took out multi-million-dollar loans, mismanaged the business, they file for the Chapter 11 or 13, they start over. No debt. They go back to back to running their operations. But if a natural person, someone who just came out, student loans, they don't have a job, they've tried some applications, they haven't got it, they make a shitty wage, why can't they file for bankruptcy and start over? Why can't they? Student loans is one of the biggest assets on the Treasury's
They're not going to be able to
portfolio.
remove themselves from student loans. You can file for bankruptcy whenever you want to. And depending on how much money you make.
That's the point.
Depending on how much money you make, that's going to be the difference between Chapter 7 and I believe Chapter 13. Chapter 7 means that you only make, I think, less than $85,000 or $87,000 a year, and so you'll be able to discharge that debt. It'll just be on your credit for like the next 5 to 7 years. Chapter 13, it means that you make a certain amount of money, and so you're gonna have to get on a repayment plan so that you can reorganize. But then you're gonna have to be able to you can wind up discharging it after a certain amount of time. What makes you think that you can't file for bankruptcy?
No, I'm talking about student loans in general. I'm talking about student loans, not necessarily about the chapter 11 or 13. I'm talking about student lones. Why when they actually go into bankruptcy, why isn't student loans involved in it?
Because there's no criteria to have to qualify for student loans. So, for example, anybody should be what we've advocated for in this country. And I'm going to explain to you why you can't do it with student loans. What we've advocated for in this country is for everybody to at least have an opportunity to be able to be successful. Sometimes it comes with more work. Sometimes it comes with more endurance. Sometimes it comes with more sacrifice. Sometimes you are behind the 8 ball, and so you have to be able to take out that student loan in order to be able to put yourself in a position. But it doesn't stop you from being able to get as much money as you need in order to be able to level up, right? You can become a physician, an anesthesiologist, an engineer, or you can get a basket weaving degree. We're not telling you what you can and can't do. But here's the thing. Since there's no real criteria for you to have to qualify for it, you then have to become wholly responsible for it. So you can't hold anybody else accountable. The only way that you can then solve for bankruptcy with regard to student loans is if you start forcing people to qualify for them and then control what their fate and their destiny is. People don't want that. They voted against it, right? Historically, they've been against it. Now, if you decide to go and get a home loan, if you decide to go and get a car, you start to go and get a credit card, what happens is you have to qualify through the lender. So now the lender is forced to take a calculated risk of whether or not you're going to pay them back. And sometimes they force you to put up collateral, or sometimes they just look at your payment history and your credit score and they take a calculated risk. And so they gamble on you. And so the difference is that when institutions are involved and then they're using their own capital to then determine whether or not you're going to be successful or not at your payment, then they have to take a level of responsibility. They then become involved in the bankruptcy process. When you are doing it based off of opportunity, because the people said that anybody should have the opportunity to be successful, you can choose to go over to community college, you can go to a private college, you can go to a HBCU, you can go to an Ivy League school, whatever it is that you qualify for, you have an unlimited amount of money that you can qualify for over a certain period of time in order to achieve your dreams and your goals. Now you become wholly responsible for it because we're not putting a criteria or anything to restrict you from being able to be successful. That's the difference, and that's why they don't discharge it. It's a difference. When you have some institution that's taking a calculated risk for you, it's a difference between the taxpayers then funding your education and your opportunity and you still being on the hook for that. You can't discharge it because what will stop people from getting educated and then immediately filing for bankruptcy as a result of it? Nobody has to be responsible for it except for the taxpayers, which then drives up inflation. It drives up the amount of money that they then have to tax the middle class and the poor people, and then it completely disrupts the system as it is. That's why they don't allow for you to then be able to discharge student loans, because it's the taxpayers' money that's then being used for you to then be successful. But when you have an institution, it's a completely different conversation. That's why we then have organizations to monitor those institutions to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So, now you understand?
You made a valid point. I understand what you're talking about. But guess what?
Tell your CEO to fucking give me my $30 million, bro.
but guess what, Anton?
They don't allow you to be able to discharge it in bankruptcy, and why they forcing you to continue to own that for the rest of your life.
They use the same criteria for college in a different way.
Taxpayers' money that's then built for you to be successful to then discharge it and say that no, I don't want to be responsible for it anymore.
Anton, we all benefit from taxpayers' money. Every business benefits from it. The whole financial structure is based on the Federal Reserve or the U.S. Treasury selling Treasury assets. Mm-hmm. Right, they pump money into the economy. And that's how banks get their money.
After this, I got to get to the next person because I don't want to monopolize it. Go ahead.
And also, I'm sorry about it. I'm sorry if I'm taking too much of your time.
This is a good conversation. This is good.
Awesome. They're able to set some rates and give the funds out to people go out there, increase economic activity, increase productivity whatnot. But guess what though? It's the same criteria they use for student loans. Why? Because when the student goes to college and they get their degree, that degree has value. Because once they get the job,
not all degrees are the same, and not all of them.
if they get the job, there's a qualifier. If they get the job, it has value. If a person gets a medical degree, what do you call it? Right, economics degree, finance, technology, engineering. When they go work for a company like Google and they're getting paid 70K, 120K, whatever it is, 200,000, that is value. That is a 30-year like.
Yeah, but all degrees are not.
If you're gonna hold, they're not. I get it. STEM,
So
STEM,
inherently
going
has
to
value.
science.
It doesn't always have value.
But Anton, I work in a company that has psychology majors who are also in my field. They might have not gone to a school for finance, but they still ended up in my field because it's the skill. You don't just go to college for your major. You will take other classes that will equip you with certain tools that will make you be able to like flexibly move from, let's say, psychology to finance, because you might not be good with people skills. There's sales in finance. There's sales in tech. I did tech sales before I went to finance.
Yeah, but
there is value as long as you land a job.
No, it's not, because as long as you land a job that's actually allowing for you to actually be able to pay back your student loan. It's not just a job. Everybody works. Everybody doesn't necessarily work and make enough, or they leverage their degree in order to get into the fields that then pay them enough money to actually pay back their student loans. It's a difference.
See, totally understand it. We're in agreement with that one. But guess what? What about the people who actually didn't get the job?
What about them? They should have.
What about the people who got the job, but the job wasn't paying them enough?
What about the people that went and took ballet classes, and then they complained that they didn't make enough money because they got student loans that they got to pay for, and they wanted to get a liberal arts degree? We can have this conversation all day, and we can go back and forth and use different examples in order to substantiate our point. The fact of the matter is that it's choice. You have a choice on what you want to go into. You have you're taking a calculated risk. Nobody is forcing you to take out the student loans. Nobody is requiring you to do so. They didn't require you to go to that private college. They didn't tell you which degree that you got to pick. It's all personal responsibility. You cannot
Anton,
put it on.
thank you for saying that. Right.
You cannot put it on the shoulders of the government. It is a self-inflicted wound. You took a chance. Some of us win. Some of us lose. Some of us know we're going to lose, and then we mortgage our future in order to have fun in college. And that's just the end of the conversation. It's all self-inflicted wounds. If you want to fix it, then you're going to have to start monitoring what people take and force them. In order for them to qualify, they're going to have to meet a certain grade threshold. They're going to have to pick certain curriculums that's needed in order for us to continue to pay for these people to go to college, so on and so forth. If you don't want that oversight, then you can't complain about what comes along with it when you pick your own path and you got to own what comes along.
Anton, you can't Elizabeth Holmes.
You can't have it both ways.
Anton, Elizabeth Holmes also had a choice. She took millions of dollars of the bank's money. Right? Exactly. And what did she do with it? She was even lying. She wasn't even building a real business. The money is gone.
She's in prison.
But how many Elizabeth Holmes out there have been gone to prison?
Let's not ignore that.
How many of them?
Let's not ignore that. She's in prison.
I get it. Elizabeth Holmes is in prison, but that's one.
So
that's
how you gonna use
example.
her as an example in which she was held?
What I'm trying to say.
Oh, no, hold on, wait. She was held accountable for her actions. She's in prison today, but you're sitting here having a conversation about Elizabeth Holmes in order to use her as an example?
No, I was trying to drive a point. I was trying to get to a point.
You didn't think I knew who Elizabeth Holmes was?
I know you know.
Oh, okay.
I know she was all over YouTube. No, I totally know. Don't get me wrong. Most of the things I'm saying, Anton, you already know. That's why I'm saying it, and not because I'm trying to be smart over here. No, it's not because of that. This is a great show because I'm disagreeing. Like you said, you want someone who would disagree. The thing I'm trying to say is that Elizabeth Holmes is about one of the 90% of businesses that fail, but we still give them loans. We know they're going to fail, but we still give them loans. Why?
What do you mean? Most of the loans that people
fail.
Are you talking about student loans, or are you talking about business loans and personal?
I'm talking about business loans. Business loans, they have a choice, right?
These
businesses
are
have
not
a choice
issued by the federal government. business loans are being issued by private and publicly owned entities.
They are not issued by the government, but the government incentivizes it.
It doesn't matter. They're not issued by the government. You're talking about a loan. Listen, when you get a loan, ultimately that's being issued by the government. When you get a student loan, everybody qualifies, fill out a FAFSA. Some people get Pell Grants, and some people just get student loans. I don't really understand. The reason why Elizabeth Holmes wound up going to jail is because she committed fraud. Just same way that these scammers go to jail when they commit fraud.
Hers was too blatant. Like, they caught her really lying. I'm talking about.
Don't matter.
Like I said,
whether
she's
it was blatant or
one.
not. She in jail. She in prison.
What I'm trying to say is that the 90% of, like, the over 80% of businesses that fail, right? We know that we have actually done the studies that they are going to fail. When these businesses get all these millions from the banks, it's not because the banks they're just using the reserves they have. No. Some businesses get their money through small business associations, right? Small business loans. That's coming directly from the government. Not all loans come directly from the banks. But we know that most of these businesses are going to fail, but we still give them the money. They fail, and it's like, okay, you can go ahead and go back to square one. You don't have any liabilities. But a student who is struggling, if they can't make any payments, or they happen to like be overwhelmed with all these like crazy bills and keeping up with rent and all of that stuff, and they're really hurting, they cannot save for the future. They're like, what, 35, 40, and they barely have any savings in the bank. We're like, okay, you cannot default on your student loans. Student loans are untouchable. But we are forgetting that these people are going to grow older. And as they grow older, if they still don't have these savings, in the bank, they are going to become our liability, and they are going to add on top of your social programs. Anton, we are still,
Fuck 'em.
We are still going to be dealing with them, Anton. If we don't, we might as well address it right now and not wait for the future.
Fuck them.
Anton, this was a great conversation. This was a great conversation.
The only problem is that we didn't hold them even more accountable for their actions. We need to pass we need to pass their debt down to their daughters and their sons, so that we make sure we get our motherfucking money back.
Anton, have you heard of what's going on in Africa right now? I bet you they would
be more careful about what it is that they took out then if we pass their debts on to their daughters and their sons. I bet you their family would hold them accountable.
Anton, have you seen what's going on in Africa right now?
No, I don't give a fuck about Africa.
Right. Guess what though?
You from Africa?
When you're constantly like doing, yeah, I'm from Africa. There's a whole bunch of coups going on. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of like coups going on right now because of people don't have, they seem to not be doing very well in their life. When people are in a place where, and you know this, it's either fight or flight.
I gotta let you go after this last comment.
Yeah, if they don't have any way out, Anton, they're going to lash out.
Who, you talking about the Africans?
Not the Africans. I'm talking about
what they gonna
people
do?
in general.
What they gonna do? Throw some rocks at us?
Anton,
who they gonna lash out at? Who they gonna lash out at? Are they gonna throw rocks at us? Are they gonna come and capture us on their pirate ships? On their inflatable boats? Who they gonna lash out at?
No, I'm talking about regular people right here in the United States, because I live in the United States. I don't live in Africa. I was just using them as an example. When people don't have a way out, Anton, they will find a way to vent their frustration. They will. They will. It doesn't matter whether they're lazy or they're not doing the things they're not supposed to do. Anton, I'm just protecting myself as well as, making sure people like you are still alive.
I'm fine. Y'all got to worry about each other. Y'all start killing each other and eating yourselves up.
Nah. Me personally,
the only people that suffer is middle class and the poor people. I'm out of that bitch. I can go and live in Japan right now, and I'll be fine. I got enough money to where I'm taken care of for the rest of my life. My family is good and all of that. Y'all the ones that got to suffer from this shit.
To some degree, yeah. But
all right, I gotta go. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I gotta go.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right, see you, bro. Machine. Hold on, let me get Machine up here. Machine, you want to be on the live stream or no?
What's going on, my man?
You want to be on camera?
Either way. You know we in the gym, baby. Let's go.
You want to be? You do want to be on camera?
I don't mind. It is what it is.
It's up to you. You let me know.
That's fine. I don't. Yeah.
Well,
fine.
if you're gonna be on camera, you got to be steady. You got to be still because you're gonna be moving around a lot. You're gonna be giving me a headache. All right, what's going on, Machine? What's the word, big dog?
Man, I just cammed up for a minute. We ain't chopped it up in a minute. I just want to show you love. That's it. You know.
I appreciate it, bro. Thank you, my friend.
100%. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. Remember, I see you at the what was it, the Vegas and the LA meetup.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We had a good old time. Yup. Yeah. So.
I appreciate it. Thank you, my friend. Get it in at the gym, man. Take care of that business, bro.
You already know, man. We ain't quitting. We getting it in. That's right. So yeah.
All right, my friend. I
100%.
appreciate you for camming up, bro.
100%.
Thank you, my friend.
Definitely. Yes, sir.
All right, let's see what we got. I'm gonna go with Dre Slay, and then I'm gonna go over to Greg Charlie. Dre Slay. Hold on, let me see if I can get you up. You want to be on camera, bro?
Oh, we can do it on camera, bro. It's cool.
All right, cool. I got you. What up, though? What's the word?
80, what's up, big bro?
Chilling. What do you disagree with?
So I just hit you up. I want to speak on the profiling, right? You're an advocate of profiling, right?
I am.
Okay, so explain the Central Park 5 to me.
You tell me. What about them?
No, I'm saying, if we advocating for profiling, that's a case of profiling going wrong, right?
Absolutely. I think that and everything that you do, you're going to have a margin of error. There's nobody that gets it 100% right 100% of the time. Not the greatest investor, not Warren Buffett himself, not Steve Jobs, not the federal prosecutor, not your favorite president. Nobody. There's always going to be a margin of error. And then in that situation, you try to adjust for it, you address it accordingly, and you deal with it as it relates to that specific situation. But the overwhelming majority, I don't solve for a problem looking at the minority. I solve for it looking at the majority. And the majority of these situations could be solved for if we profile.
Okay, I can understand where you're going with it, but I mean, are we advocating for life to be taken away just for? I mean, the
ones that's under duress is the citizens. The ones that's under duress ain't the criminals. The people that's losing their lives is the innocent people. It's the people that got their homes getting ran up in. It's the people that's getting robbed. It's the people that's getting carjacked. How come we don't have any sympathy for the ones that's suffering, but we have more sympathy for the ones that's getting profiled? I'd rather profile you and be wrong than not profile you and be fucking wrong on the other side, in which you can come out here and take my life. Because I got a daughter.
Okay, so the innocent young men that lose life due to this profiling, it's just fucked up.
Who lost their life due to profiling?
Okay, so let's talk about Khalif Browder.
I don't know who that is.
Khalif Browder, another young kid from New York City, falsely profiled, went to jail. I want to say spent some years in jail and whatnot. Came out to be not true, that he didn't do whatever they said he did. Got out because of those circumstances that he went through in that jail system. I don't know if you've ever been in there. But
no, I'm not. I'm not a jail guy. I'm not a jail guy.
Right. Okay. So due to the circumstances that he went through, you know what I mean, in that harsh environment, it caused him to take his own life.
Well, we got to account for that. That's another one. That's the margin of error that we got to deal with. Let me ask you a question. What about when I get profiled, when I walk outside of the door and I know who it is that's going to come at me and rob me, but then I'm supposed to give them that margin of error as far as making sure that I acknowledge their blackness or the fact that they're a human being. Am I supposed to profile them, or am I supposed to just go about my way? Because I guarantee you profile when you go out to the streets every day.
You say I profile when I go out in the street?
Absolutely.
What you mean by that?
That means that when you go outside and you sense an imminent amount of danger, you situationally aware. If anybody that was raised in a hood or anybody has ever been raised in an environment where you know who the thugs are, you are profiling based off of your life experiences. When you see somebody walk down the street and they don't look right and they start to look a certain type of way, I bet you make adjustments.
Okay, yeah, I get
That's
that.
profiling.
But this the thing, right? If we're saying
wait. That's
but
profiling.
Hold on. But we don't have the ability, right, to place someone in jail because of profiling. We can't take life away from people.
We're not
for
gonna place you
profiling.
in jail based off of profiling. We gonna check out to make sure that you 100% good though.
But for me, I'm just advocating for advocating for profiling.
Who said anything about sending people to jail for profiling?
No. This is what I'm saying. If we're advocating for the police to be able to profile, then we're advocating for them to send innocent people to jail, right?
How would you go to jail if you wasn't doing nothing that was criminal activity? If your license is good, if your license is good, if your registration is straight, if you ain't got no guns in the car, no illegal substances, if you're not driving under the influence, why would you go to jail?
But hold on, Anton. We just brought up a situation, Central Park 5. Guy went to jail.
I acknowledge that that's the minority. That's the anomaly. I'm talking about people that ultimately is in an environment doing something that they're not supposed to do, possibly plotting on somebody. Do you wait for an innocent person to suffer as a result of it, or do you profile in order to try to prevent it from happening?
Okay, I understand where you're going with it, Anton. But what I'm saying is with that system, the criminal justice system, right? We got to make sure that they are getting the justice
You don't get to jail unless you're doing something illegal. For the overwhelming majority of people, they don't go to jail for something that they're not doing illegal.
Okay, I get it. You can say the majority, right? But for that minority that could have been, we don't know what they could have been. That could have been your future leader, your future president.
What about the minority of people that didn't get their head knocked over because they didn't profile? Because see, here's the thing. The people that get their head knocked over, they don't get an opportunity to be able to cam up and tell their story, right? They already dead because the only people that can tell their story is the ones that was wrong on the other side, but the ones that was the victims, they don't get an opportunity to talk. Who's gonna stand up for the people that's getting fucking robbed at over in California? Who gonna stand up for the outright criminal activity that's being perpetuated against business owners over there and homeowners and people that's getting they cribs robbed in, and the nigga that get his brains blew out when he got carjacked? Who advocating for him? Because he didn't profile.
Okay, but in the same instance, who's going to advocate for that person that's sitting behind those bars during that time that also can't get that same light shed on his situation, right?
Oh,
he's sitting back there going
we advocate for them already. I advocate for dudes that's unjustly jailed on a regular basis. What I don't do though is act like I'm operating with my eyes wide shut and I don't see this bullshit that's happening in society. Most of these motherfuckers that's getting profiled need to get profiled. That's the truth.
But this the thing, Anton, right?
If you ain't got nothing to worry about, you ain't got to worry about it. If you ain't riding around dirty and illegal and doing something you ain't supposed to do, you ain't got to worry about it.
But we just said that there is a minority who they're not riding around dirty and illegal. They were just illegally profiled.
Well, we can solve for the minority when we solve for the majority. When we get the illegal activity and the criminal element out, then we can start solving for the minority. In every situation, you always solve for the majority, not the minority.
Okay, but in that case, though, Anton, we still got to get the justice system right. Right? Ain't that what you're saying? We still got to make sure the justice system is operating correctly.
You can work on more than one thing at a time.
Okay, so all I'm saying, bro, is that, we gotta I believe that we gotta make sure that the future remembers the past so that it doesn't happen to them again. Right? The future has to remember the past so that it doesn't happen to them again. So if we're talking about the profiling, right? In the past, we have situations that we know where people were profiled wrongly and they lost life because of it, right? Mm-hmm. So in order for it to not happen again,
you use one example, but I got you.
I used two. I gave you two.
Okay, you used two. Well, I didn't know the one. I didn't know the one. I'm just taking your word for it.
Look. Khalif Browder is national news. You can look it up. It's national.
But I'm not intimately familiar with it. But okay, so let's say two. You gave me two examples. I give you that.
Yeah. But I just gave you some examples just so we ain't operating on just nothingness. But it's plenty. It's plenty more. We know it's plenty more, right? It's plenty more. Okay. But I'm just saying
I
that,
think
you know
that
what I
is
mean, for
more people
profiling.
is more people that should profile so that they can prevent the crime from happening than
Look,
those
I
that
just
we have
believe
to
in
worry
America,
about.
right?
I believe that you got to do the thing that's in your best interest, and that is what makes up the fabric of America. I think that we need to start profiling. I think that we need to be careful with who it is that we let in our inner circle. When you see a nigga that look like a thug walking down the street, you make sure that you move accordingly.
Of course. That's awareness, right? We preach awareness all day. We know to
That's
preach awareness all day.
profiling.
Okay,
Awareness is profiling.
All I'm saying is, right, is that we cannot excuse and pass over that criminal justice system that is not operating correctly. We got to make sure
I
that
think
as
that
a
you should
people,
work on that. I'm gonna work on finding out. I'm gonna work on finding where the profiling and finding where the criminals are. I gotta find them. You work on getting them out unjustly. I'm gonna work on locking them up expeditiously.
I feel you, my brother. I feel you, my brother. It was good talking to you. And we gonna have to have some more talks in the future, right?
I'm
We're gonna
with
have to
it.
talk. We're gonna have to talk about all the Chicago business you be on, man, because
You from
you get down
Chicago?
on my
I
city.
knew it.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew it.
Chicago, bro.
I knew
Yeah,
you
I'm
was from
Chicago.
Chicago. That's why you don't want us to profile y'all.
Oh, come on, man.
I knew you was from Chicago.
But yeah, we're gonna talk. We'll talk more in the future. I don't want to hold the line up, but it's good talking to you, brother. You know what I mean? I watch the show sometimes and things like that, and you preach some good, but on the other end, you can get drastic and go off the ledge on the other end, though.
You know what though? I feel it. That's why I'm cool with people giving their opinion or having a difference of opinion or trying hold me accountable and all of that, because I don't think that I'm right 100% of the time. I think I'm right most of the time. But I don't expect for anybody, not one person that's in this chat, to agree with me 100% of the time. You know what I'm saying? But I think the thing that makes it dope is the fact that we can have conversations, we can have disagreements. And then we can also agree to disagree, right? If the majority of the stuff that we rock with each other, then I think that that's the dope part. But I don't agree with 100% with what my mother say. I don't agree with 100% with what my daughter say, my wife, or none of that. So yeah, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm cool with you saying, yo, Anton, I ain't rocking with you on this and all of that. I think that that's dope.
Yep. Hey, it was good talking to you, brother.
Hey, man, stay out
I
of
think,
Chicago, man. Get on out of there, bro.
Chicago's a good city. Don't believe Anton, man.
Where?
It is a good city, man.
Where?
Y'all come to Chicago, man. It is a good city. We are preaching peace. We are preaching peace and love in Chicago. You hear me?
All right, I'll holler at you, bro.
All right, brother.
Y'all are some of the best callers in the world. Let me see what we got here. Greg, are you there, Greg? Greg muted himself. All right, we're not going to worry about Greg. Let's go over to Nisi, and then I'm going to see what Cliff is talking about. What's up, Nisi?
Oh, hi. I finally made it when I got to a different spot that I didn't want to be at. Hello.
What's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm pretty good, thank you.
What's happening?
So
What's
I'm
your
going to make it
thoughts?
pretty quick. So, Anton, I respect you too much to ever say that I totally disagree with you as a person. But some of the opinions that you have, I do have a different perspective on them.
Okay,
So
what is
one of
that?
them is the profiling. One of them is the profiling issue because we have a problem with our young people, our people of our color being profiled, and sometimes it doesn't end well when you get stopped, or whatever, for whatever incident.
You don't think so?
No, I know so. I know that's a fact.
Nisi, I think that the police should be more aggressive with these young people. I think that they need to stop being so nice and to be a lot more aggressive with them.
Well, do you mean for all? I mean, I know that you are in a different position where you have elevated, so you're not into the midst of all of this chaos 100% of the time. But at the same time, we are still here. I'm a good person, and my children are decent people as well. So why should we be able to not walk the streets?
What do you mean? Who said you can't walk the street?
Well, because if I'm being profiled, that means someone's just looking at me because of the color of my skin. They don't know the content of my character. They don't know. And yes, I
Profiling
agree
is
with
anything.
you.
Profiling is what you wearing, is whether or not you got your pants sagging, is whether or not you wearing a hoodie when it's 100 degrees outside, because we need to know who you trying to rob, is the color of your skin in certain environments, is whether or not you're a woman or are you a man, right? Profiling is everything. It's not just the color of your skin. It's every single thing that comes along with who it is that you are as a person based off of our lived experiences to say that this is something that normally happens. Profiling is everything.
But specifically for what we're talking about, where though you said that if they come in your neighborhood looking a certain way, you're immediately going to call the police. I just have to say one name that came to my mind when you said that, and that was Trayvon Martin. But, you know, I just feel you have taught me so much that I keep my personal feelings out of so much stuff. I got to tell you, I walk around quoting you because some of these people are egregious in their behavior, you know, and I've learned so much from you at the same time. But that was the other thing I had to tell you, that even
Well,
though I've learned
Trayvon
so much
Martin is
from you.
it's a different conversation because he should have never went up to that boy in the first place, right? I said that when you see something happening, you make adjustments, A, and then you call the police, B. That boy should never be dead. He should have never even got into a confrontation whatsoever, so on and so forth. And he should have never went up to him. He should have never got into a tussle with him, whatever. So he should have been held accountable for his actions also. However, it does not remove the fact that you still need to profile, even though I still think that we should control ourselves.
I definitely agree with you. I'm on these streets of Philadelphia, so you know I'm right there.
Get out of
in
there,
the middle of the
Niecy.
chaos. Yeah, but where am I going to go right here and now? Where am I going to go? Like, I'm not getting ready to go anywhere at this very moment, but luckily I'm in a person that's in a position that maybe in the next 3 to 5, if I'm still breathing, I can go, you know, because I have put ducks in the road. But I also got to tell you that I do believe everybody can change their ways if they want to. It is a mindset. And I don't
I
care how
don't.
much money you get. If you
I don't.
listen, you can be rich and you can have a worse mindset.
I
So you can
don't.
be
I
poor
don't
with
think that everybody can change their mindset. I think that some people are just inherently evil.
I agree.
I think that the problem with us in most instances is that we give the benefit of the doubt to people instead of actually being honest with what it is that we're dealing with. We know that there's certain people in our family that's just full of shit and they're going to go to jail. We see it before it happened. We know that that dude is a pedophile. We know who the criminals are in our neighborhood, and we give them the benefit of the doubt until they fuck us over. And then we want to act like we victims when we already knew who they were because we can profile it based off of. Listen, all right, so let me give you an example. I'll give you an extreme example. If this man over here is profiled to be a sexual predator for whatever reason, right? He always coming around giving the kids candy. He don't never want to talk to the adults, but he always over there with the kids. Sometimes you see him sitting the little kids on his lap and shit. Do you just, because he didn't commit a crime, do you automatically address that or do you wait for something to happen? Are you profiling that man?
I would definitely automatically address it.
Why? You shouldn't be profiling, Niecy.
That's not profile. That's discernment, and that is you keeping
it's
your
discernment.
Yes, it's discernment.
How? Okay, so why is it discernment in one instance, but it's not? But it's profiling in another instance.
I don't know what you say, but I grab my pocketbook when I see, you know, if I'm walking down the street and I'm sorry, but if I'm walking down the street and I just so happen to came too far down the middle of the block and there's 3 brothers and I got love for my brothers, I'm still going to walk past, but yeah, I'm going to make sure that pocketbook is over my shoulder and be hoping to God that they don't want to take it off of me.
Wait, Niecy, you profiling?
I'm not. It's what
yes, you are. That is profiling. That's literally profiling.
But this is real life, so I can't be no fool out here trying to not hurt somebody else.
But it's real life now.
But may I say something else to you? Because
Niecy, hold on, Niecy, you profiling, baby.
Yes. I agreed with you with what you said. I just feel like it's so many different instances that that should not be the case. I should be allowed to walk the street, any streets, but
only because it's you. But when you start to apply it in other situations and circumstances, it becomes discernment, right?
Isn't that also discrimination for you to determine how somebody, like, suppose if I was all nice looking and beautiful looking and I still stuck you up, then you're gonna be like, whoa, I wouldn't have been expecting that, right?
That's why we got to be. That's why we got to profile. Oh, let me revise it, Niecy. That's why we got to have discernment. I know you prefer to say discernment.
I definitely prefer to say discernment because, of course, I'm going to evaluate every situation before I go, when I get there, and when it's time for me to move.
Niecy, like, I don't need you profiling. You're not going to be out here discriminating based off of profiling. I don't like that, Niecy. I'm not going to let you do that to me. I'm not going to let you profile me.
But sir, may I say one more thing to you? Because I know that your live usually be over by now. I'm off today. That's the only reason why I had the time to
Shout
not
out
get
to my
on yet.
people that's off today.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna always take a moment to come and say hello and love all the bag chasers. I've grown so much. I've always been a smart person, but I've grown so much just listening to different things you say. Even the things I don't like that you say, I still listen to them. And I just gotta add this little thing before I go, and that is, sir. So like myself, I'm a smart person. I've been through some things. When I talk to people, they understand that I'm talking with wisdom. But I don't feel like I can talk to a man about even a young boy, except for my son. I'm gonna talk to them. I'm gonna keep it real with them. But other young men, I don't try to pour into them because I know that's a man's job. So I know yesterday you were saying that should you do a live for or whatever you should do just all
Oh,
women.
for the
And I don't know if
ladies?
you saw I don't know if you saw my comment or not, where I suggested that you don't do anything with all just women because that's not even your forte. That's not your platform. You know what I mean? You've done so many great things. I'm sure you've changed so many lives that you're not even aware of. But I think with that comes great responsibility, sir.
What?
For things you say,
Talking to people, dealing with people?
things you say, out of your mouth.
You know what, Niecy? I'm gonna be honest with you, babe. Everything that I say, I believe that I'm 100% right on. I always think that I'm right. Otherwise, I wouldn't say it. Everything that I say, I genuinely believe that I'm right until somebody proves me otherwise. Right?
What
The
about when you
only
call them
problem with
horrible
me
names?
is that I'm too open and honest with my thoughts. I say the things that most people think or that they have inside of their mind in their own living room. And so a lot of times, because we live in this PC culture, it makes people uncomfortable because they're not used to somebody saying it just out of their mouth like that.
What?
Like if I say
Right.
that
We
I'm
all call
profiling
people.
somebody, that's something that everybody do, but they don't like the fact that it sounds that way because it's something that, we live in this, politically correct culture.
Well, your
So I
profile
just
came
tell
with
the truth.
action. You said if you come around this block looking like this, I'm calling the cops before you do anything.
100%.
Before.
And I'm
So
strapped
that's
up.
the difference. That's
And
the
I'm
difference.
strapped
You
up.
know what I mean?
And I'm telling my wife and my daughter to go in the house, hurry up, and lock the door. And I'm
But I think you
strapped
were in a
up.
good community. You're in a good community, right? You're in a good
Yeah, but that
community.
don't mean that I'm always in a good community. I'm everywhere.
So say if you were in a good community, but you brought some of your people from the hood to where you were at, would you want
Not
them
gonna
to be
happen. Not gonna happen.
subject to that?
Not gonna happen.
Meaning
I'm
you
not
ain't
gonna
messing
bring.
with nobody.
I'm not gonna bring people to the hood where I'm at.
No,
I
don't
got.
think I don't
Listen,
agree with you.
Niecy, you talking to a person? My family. Some of my family members don't even know where I live at.
No, I've been a victim of all of those things. Being too nice to people and people just vandalizing my stuff because they feel like they think I got so much when I'm just right there. You know what I mean? I work hard. So whenever these things happen, I know it's in God's hand as far as He don't want me to go out and try to hurt nobody and get an orange jumper because that's not going to serve nobody no purpose. You know what I mean? We talked at New York. I told you what happened, but I mean, it's just that's how we is. That's where we at this point in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not rich, sir. So I'm here. I'm right here in the jungle.
You will be, and you
But
don't
I'm in
have
a
to be.
nice
And you don't
neighborhood
have to be in
though.
the jungle either.
I'm in a nice neighborhood. I'm not down there where it's like 105 people out on the block all day long. No, I'm in a nice neighborhood. But when I go out of my neighborhood, if I go to the left or to the right, I'm in a different neighborhood. You know. So.
Mm-hmm. I got you. All right, Niecy. Be
Thank you so
good, girl.
much.
Be good,
You have
baby.
a great day. Thank
I bet.
you. Bye.
I dropped the link in the chat just for Cliff to be able to come up. I'm sure Cliff has some insight for me that he wants me to understand. And then I'm going to read the super chats. Actually, you know what? Let me read a couple of the super chats while I wait for Cliff. Marriage Politics and Sports says the leader of the Proud Boys just got 17 years for January 6th. That's called being held accountable. Shout out to Marriage Politics and Sports. Cliff says food is not the right. Before civilization, people hunted and farmed. If you did not do that, you would starve, and these people are delusional, and I agree with that 100%. Absolutely. Let's see. Cliff also says, shout out to the Brokies and the ABC people victims. Oh, my God. I'm so scared of what Cliff is going to come up here and say. Cliff is crazy. Jason Lee says, nah, she needs to lay off the Dunkin' Donuts and the DoorDash. She can probably pay off a good chunk of her credit card bills just off of that alone. That's a fact. Shout out to you. My dog, Razik, is in the building, says, queer folks are... Oh, Jesus, Razik. Good grief. They are not ops. Real says, but you don't have to go into debt for that education unless you're trying to be a medical doctor, which may require your full attention. You can work something and go to school too. That's a fact. Dewan says he has major anxiety now. He has major anxiety. Wow. What up, though, Anton? What up to all of my people in the D? I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Mr. Hylel says student loans actually help my credit out because it's my biggest debt. It's predicted to be another market that will burst next to housing and auto. Shout out to Mr. Hylel. I appreciate you. Razik says Victim Olympics will be a phenomenal case study. And I'm going to be at the forefront of the case study. Greatness to Work said if banks can be bailed out and billions can go to Ukraine, they can get their own people a bailout also. Nope. No bailout for you. You don't get nothing. Gangsta Love says, how much to hang up on this African booty scratcher? Oh, my Jesus Christ. Rob is in the building, says, I profile bees, don't want to be stung. I profile dogs, don't want to get bitten. I profile everything black and white as survival mechanism. That's what they not understanding, Rob. Cliff says, Anton, I wanted to call in. Well, let's get Cliff up here and see what it is that he got to say. What up, Cliff?
Well, go on, big bro.
Chilling, my
Can you
friend.
hear
How
me?
you doing out there on the job site?
I'm good, man. You know, we fucking shut up. Where is it? The 2 buildings outside's done. We're on the inside now. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
What's
bro.
that?
So I wanted to talk about the first story that you covered. I don't remember the name that they gave it. The guys that are robbing people coming out of the bank.
Oh, jugging.
Jugging. Yeah, that's crazy. But
Yeah.
yo, you know who we should really blame for this shit? The OGs.
Mm.
And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna give you some context. So I was at a friend of mine's restaurant one day eating some food, right?
Okay.
And these 2 guys come in, and then this one guy, he's got dreads on, you know, typical Pookie package. So he's like, "Fuck, man, yo, I had a fucked up day, man." And he's talking Jamaican. I'm just translating for you, but he's like, "Yo, I got robbed, man, at my apartment." And he was like, yeah, this guy just run in and he was telling the story and saying, but you know, they didn't get nothing because I had my thing on me. So I was asking him a question. So I was like, yo, you know who it is? And he's like, yeah, I know who it is. And he said that when they came in, he had his thing on. So he pointed it at them and like they turned into fools. So they dropped theirs and he took off one of the guy's mask. It's one of the guys that he was bringing him from. He was a young kid, teaching him all the ropes, how to do all the robberies and all the shit. That same guy took all the skills and came back and tried to use it on him. So I looked at the
So he
guy and
got
I
to
was
own
like,
that then.
yo, hold on, man. I looked at the guy and I said, yo, you know that you made that monster, right? And you know, he looked down like he was thinking to himself, and his buddy said something, and then the conversation just changed. And I just looked at it and laughed, man, because yo, you
We
know,
leave
you're
that
getting
part
old
out.
now. Yeah, but you're getting old now. You wanna settle down and you don't wanna do the shit no more. But you train somebody else up to come and take your space.
Yep.
And they are more ruthless and more heartless than you could have ever been in your entire life. And they're coming. They don't care who they pointed on. They pointing it right on you. So all them OGs, yeah, that's who we should blame for all this shit. Because them little young kids, they didn't come up knowing all this stuff and they didn't learn the ropes and all this. Somebody taught it to them.
Yeah. I feel you. All right.
That
Yeah,
and
man. I agree with you, bro.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that on something though.
What's that? What you would disagree with me for? Oh.
These motherfuckers with the student loans, you need to be more harder on them, man. Yo, you need to pay your shit. Yo, you
We
agree?
have to
You
have some
wanted to
level of
level up.
empathy. We got to have some level of empathy.
What empathy, my bumba clad Anton? No, what kind of empathy? Yo, the empathy was there. Somebody had the empathy enough to lend you the money to go pursue your career or your dreams or whatever you thought it is that you wanted to go do, and you fucked up. And now all of a sudden you want somebody to erase it and then say, "Oh, I have student loan debt. You know that. I'm going to school now." There's a whole thing
I
going on
agree
with
with that. Let me tell you why I'm hard on people, Cliff. I'm hard on people because I don't want them to depend on anybody in order to get themselves out of the circumstance. I do feel for some people. I do, because I do know that it's some people that came up and I get it. I know that it's some people that fell between the cracks, or their parents was trash, or they just wanted to go off to college in order to get out of their environment or their circumstance. I get that. You know what I'm saying? So I do have sympathy, and I'm empathetic towards certain people and things like that. I just have to keep pushing them, and I have to keep being hard on them. And I can't give them any leeway because I don't want them to depend on that in order to continue to get themselves through. They still have to pull themselves out of it, and ain't nobody gonna help them. We can be sympathetic and we can empathize based off of their circumstances once we get them out of it. But you got to push them.
I agree.
Got to push them.
I
I
agree.
got to get them out. I got to get them out of that. And pity patting them and making them feel good about their circumstance ain't gonna help them. Sometimes it only hurts them. And so once I get you out of it, then we can look back on your circumstance and we can start to, have a conversation. But, I got to get them out of it. I do think it's some people we should have empathy for, but most of these people is self-inflicted wounds.
For real. But yo, big bro, I don't want to take up too much of your time. Thank you for extending the link. I appreciate you, man. I love you, bro. Not gonna wait till you're dead to say it. Not gonna stop saying it. I need to tap into you though. I'm gonna send you
Okay.
an email for a coaching call. I'll make
All
that
right, that's a
payment.
bet.
There's some shit that's going on. All right, bro. You have a good day.
All right,
To
my
your
friend.
family. Hi.
All
Love
right,
and
bet.
respect.
All right, bye. All right. Heck of a show. I think that this was a good show. I think that we had some good conversations. I do have a level of empathy for you guys. I really do. I want everybody to be successful. I do feel for y'all. I just don't want y'all to make any excuses because life happens to everybody, and that shouldn't be the determining factor for whether you're successful or not. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, make sure y'all tune in to Fight Club tonight because it's gonna be a great show tonight. I got a new format that I'm introducing. I think that y'all gonna love it. I'm about to read these last few super chats and then we're gonna get up out of here. And I also want to acknowledge the people on Cash App. So let me acknowledge the people on Cash App real quick. My Cash Appers, Mr. Midnight said this is an organic lifer, became a bag chaser. Shout out to you. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jalen Hawkins, says feeling blessed. Can't wait for the next Zoom. Shout out to you, my friend. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers. Greg Orr. Shout out to my dog, Greg Orr. And Ken said for your work. And Darwin Christian. Absolutely. I love you guys. Let me acknowledge a few more of you dudes on here just because I love y'all. Chris says, good afternoon. People, salute to the Chasers. Anton, any DC updates? I'm dropping it this weekend. So I've been busy as hell. I ain't even had my beard done or whatever. So I'm dropping that this weekend. I'm going to drop the location on Sunday. Or I'm going to drop the more information about the DC meetup on Sunday. And I'm dropping a video inside of the Patreon today. All right. Shout out to Chris. I appreciate you, big dog. Also on top of that, Khalil says, Anton's right, $60K in student loans because I wanted to live on campus and stay away from my parents. It's my fault, not the government's, not my parents. See what I'm saying? As soon as you take accountability for it, you re-empower yourself. And then Greg says, I wasn't muted for what happened. I don't know, Greg. I couldn't hear you for whatever reason. But don't worry. Don't worry, Greg. We will have this again. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody that rock out with us. I love you. I appreciate you. And thank you, Greg. Thank you for everybody that cammed up. Thank you to everybody that jumped into the live stream today. Fight Club. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Make sure you get that Teach Hanley 30% off your first order plus a free gift. It was a great show today. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I need y'all to do me one more favor on this Friday before we get up out of here. Make sure you don't fumble the bag. Make sure you're not out here creating self-inflicted wounds. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Turn on your notifications. Share this with a family friend. Share this with at least 3 people. If you haven't shared this with at least 3 people, then you're doing yourself a disservice because this is the greatest morning show on earth. And I show up here every morning, regardless of the circumstances, in order to entertain you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at y'all later. Peace.